Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show here on this hump day. We got a packed day, a busy show here on this June the 7th, 2023. I see Jonathan Lee, Ethan, Austin Gregory's checking in from North Augusta. How about it? Shout out to the CSRA. Xavier, Will Hall, Brendan Colton. What's going on? Austin Gregory has set the Robbie Davis line. The line is now set at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The over at minus 120. Austin, I think I'm going to have to go on the under, my guy. I will say this. Robbie Davis has been very good about sticking around the 5-minute mark or so. He's been very good about that of late. So, Austin, I'm actually going to go with the upset. I will take the under on 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Arthur Bear, what's going on? Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel, the TDC Questions channel, to be sure your questions are answered there. Stephanie Lee, what is up? Appreciate you all tuning in. Austin Gregory says, I subscribe to the Big Cock Club if he goes under. Wow. Okay. No takebacks, Austin. 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Robbie Davis has to go under 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Everybody heard that, especially those in the Big Cock Club. You guys heard. If Robbie Davis goes under 8 minutes and 20 seconds, we are going to have a new member of the BCC. Love to hear that. Again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We got a lot to get into, a lot to discuss here on this Wednesday. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Of course, in our third hour, we have our Q&A Power Hour, our second hour. I'm really excited. JD PicKell of On3 Sports, he will join us once again to recap. He was actually at the On3 event last week, guys. Was at the On3 event. I believe Dylan Stewart was at that event. So really exciting stuff there. Again, really, really pumped to have JD on. Then, of course, our first hour, we got topics to hit on. GA, what's going on, GA? I will get back to you later after the show, my friend. Appreciate you reaching out to me this morning. Bruin Nation, RIP, the Iron Sheik. What is that? What is that? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't read the comments. I have no idea what that means. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for the continued love and support here on this Wednesday, June the 7th. Been a fantastic week. We are working on right now potentially some events this weekend, so just stay tuned for that. Looking forward to it, and hopefully we can make it happen. Obviously, we're kind of up against it with the games being Friday and Saturday, but we are working with our friends over at Carolina Ale House to potentially throw an event this weekend, so just stay tuned, guys. A lot of moving pieces right now and a lot of exciting things happening. Again, guys, appreciate you all. Here we go. We're into the show. June the 7th. 2023. Also, guys, of course, you're watching on YouTube. Be sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notifications of when we go live and, of course, when we drop new video content. Also, we drop the podcast every single day, 5 p.m. Eastern, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. So, again, make sure you're subscribed. And also, leave us a review, guys. Number one, it helps boost the show. But number two, I just love to hear your feedback. Things you like, things you don't like, things you want to see us continue doing or maybe stop doing or whatever it may be. So again, guys, appreciate you all being subscribed. The podcast numbers continue to go to the freaking moon since we have gone to our new distribution format of the pod, and really love to see it. Again, I've told you guys before, you're hitting the sweet spot when you're doing something that works best for business, but it also works best for your end consumer, and it drives the most value. That is truly the sweet spot, because a lot of times, unfortunately, in business, you've got to sacrifice one thing or the other, right? You got to sacrifice something in turn, but not in this situation. So again, thank you all so much for the feedback on that, and really do appreciate it, and great to see that success there. Now, as this offseason continues, right, I love to talk gambling. I love to talk gambling. And, guys, I will tell you this. As we go into this college football season, gambling content is actually going to be something I make even more of a point of emphasis, as we have upped our partnership with our friends over at Prize Picks. And, it's something where I'm giving these SEC gambling picks, right, on a weekly basis. Well, I keep track of the records, yes, but admittedly, previously, like in the past, I had done no research. I mean, they were completely off the cuff. Just look at all the spreads, look at all the totals, give my best bet based off of the little information I had and the little bit I knew about each of these teams, okay? So I'm going to be doing more research and giving you all, we're going to really, truly try to break the bookie this football season. But with that being said, the reason I bring that up and where I want to start the show today, win totals continue to be released by different sports books. You see it all the time, right? Caesars, DraftKings, FanDuel, whoever it might be. Well, our good friends over at Circa Sports dropped their over-under win total for South Carolina football. And similar, exactly like Caesars, the win total is set for South Carolina at 6. And when you first see that, when I first see that, I think to myself, how? Like, how is that number so low? How can that number be so low after what South Carolina did last season? I understand the question marks and the schedule and like everything else, but has Shane Beamer not proven anything to this point, right? And so my first reaction is coming from the Gamecock fan side of things, if you will. But what I want to do today is look at the quote-unquote trap games on this football schedule and maybe see like what is Vegas seeing, because guys, we all know they don't build those mansions out there in the desert off of winners' money. And so the first reaction is to go hammer the over. And I'm still going to sit here and tell you today, if you've got to play the number 6 one way or the other, because if it was me, guys, if I was trying to get even money, bet on South Carolina. If I was trying to get even money, which is the goal at the end of the day, I would set the over-under win total. I would set it at 7.5. I would set it at 7.5. I think that's where you're going to find even money. But all of the win totals coming out from Vegas are 6, 6.5. We have not seen a total over 6.5 this offseason. And does Vegas know everything? No. South Carolina has smashed the over the first 2 years in Shane Beamer's tenure. But it is interesting nonetheless. So I want to talk about the biggest trap games. What are the games that maybe we are looking at or we're not looking at that South Carolina right now we would say is either going to be a favorite or this fan base expects to win? Because we all know how this thing works, right? We spend all offseason giving our predictions, our projections, like trying to nail a prediction, if you will, knowing that the unthinkable is going to happen. It never goes exactly as we predicted, right? It never does. And especially us as Gamecock fans, we see it year after year. South Carolina typically beats someone they're not supposed to. And unfortunately, they lose to someone they're not supposed to. I think the big trap game or the trip up last year was that game against Missouri. I mean, that was the game, and that has served as one of the games over the last 4 years, especially when you think the Gamecocks were a home favorite in that ball game and got beat by double digits. So, what are those trap games on this schedule? What are the biggest trap games on South Carolina's 2023 football schedule? Well, let's go through it, shall we? North Carolina, I would not call a trap game. Okay, South Carolina is the underdog. Even if it's a pick 'em, I don't see that being a trap game. I think that's a game that most Gamecock fans expect to win, but I don't think it's fair to label that the season opener as a trap game. A trap game, guys, again, to me is more so like we feel like South Carolina should win. These are going to be games that everyone is going to be picking the Gamecocks to win these games. And maybe we're not giving these enough credit to, hey, this is realistically a game South Carolina could lose. Because if they're going to hit that 6 number that Vegas has them at, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just telling you, if they're going to hit that 6 number, there's going to have to be a couple games on this schedule they lose that we are not expecting, right? There's going to have to be at least a few. So I would not label North Carolina. My first trap game, week 2 against the Furman Paladins. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Many of you just swerved off the road if you're listening via podcast, or many of you just turned me off on YouTube. Please don't block me. Please don't block me. No, I'm kidding. Furman's not a trap game. It's not a trap game. All due respect to the Pound, is it not? At Georgia, obviously, is not. I first go to week 4. Mississippi State at Williams-Brice Stadium. Okay? And I think this is one, you've seen there are other outlets out there that have labeled this the biggest trap game. And I think one of the reasons is this, because we just don't know what Mississippi State's going to be. And I think it's very easy, because of the unfortunate passing of Mike Leach, to write them off as, well, Mississippi State, they're donezo. They don't have their coach anymore, which again is a really sad and unfortunate situation. But the reality is Mike Leach is no longer there. So what is Mississippi State going to be? And I think, again, most folks, they look at that game, Mississippi State, not cream of the crop of the SEC West. It's a home game. Check it off as a dub. Keep it moving. But you look at that game. Gamecocks are still breaking in a new secondary, right? I mean, we like the secondary. I like what Torian Gray has done, but it's still a new secondary. Will Rogers, arguably the best quarterback in the SEC. They're not going to be air raid, but Mississippi State is still going to toss the ball around, and Mississippi State is going to bring a nasty defense into Willie B. They are going to bring a fantastic defensive front. Mississippi State football hangs their hat on physicality on the defensive side. So I think that's a trap game. I think South Carolina is most likely favored, especially if you beat North Carolina week 1. I think South Carolina's favored going in that game, but I don't think that one's just a slam dunk. And I think that's why most are labeling it a trap game. At Tennessee, Gamecocks will be an underdog. That's obviously not a trap game. Then comes the bye week. Saturday, October the 14th, against the Florida Gators. Everybody is down and out on Florida. They're over under win total set at 5.5. 5 by some people. Mark Ryan, a noted Florida man, has come on these airwaves and said, Chris, the implosion is coming. This is going to be a brutal season for the University of Florida. Graham Mertz is their quarterback. I mean, everybody is getting their shots in at Florida. And maybe it's, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because I still have nightmares about what Tim Tebow did to the Gamecocks in 2007 and 2008 and what have you. But, like, it's weird for me. It's weird to come into a football season and see Florida being disrespected to the level they are, and to see Florida just to see what they are as a program. And honestly, to see that South Carolina is ahead of Florida. So it feels like we're so far ahead. It's a weird feeling. I mean, I like the feeling, but it just feels weird. You know what I mean? And what scares me about this one, again, because of the offseason chatter and the narrative around Florida, they're going to be terrible. And coming off a bye week. Listen, this is a game South Carolina should win. And you talk about the revenge factor, what happened last year, 38-6. But I say don't sleep on the Gators, man. I think this is a game South Carolina could lose. I mean, hell, they beat you 38-6 last year. And it wasn't all because of Anthony Richardson. They ran the ball for 280 yards against you. And there's nothing to say that your run defense is going to be better this year. And even if it's slightly better, it's still not very good. So, at Willie B, is it going to be a night game? I think I'll tell you this. I think Williams-Brice Stadium, guys, is becoming one of those places where the time that South Carolina play absolutely matters. You know how, like, LSU is viewed where, like, if they play at night at home, it's an automatic dub. I kind of see Willie B the same way. Like, if you could tell me right now all the kickoff times, like if you told me right now South Carolina, Florida is a 7:30 kickoff at Williams-Brice, that changes ever so slightly my view of that game, because Willie B at night is a madhouse. It's a pure madhouse. Not many folks are getting out of Williams-Brice Stadium alive if the game is played after the sun goes down. That's it. That's it. Gamecock fans turn into it goes to a different level. Willie B, I mean, y'all know, Willie B at night hits differently. Anyways, though, this game against Florida, man, October the 14th, coming off the bye week. I mean, you look at the way the schedule lays out. You got Mizzou the next week. I don't think you'll be looking past Florida by any means, but I just think Florida's a team where it almost makes me more nervous that we're spending this entire offseason crapping on Florida. It does. It just does, because I'm like, Florida still has talent. Like, the blue chip ratio just dropped yesterday. Florida is still one of those teams that is over 50%. Like, there are still talented players on their roster. So that, to me, is another trap game on this schedule. The following week, Saturday, October the 21st. Guys, can we even fairly list? I put Missouri on this list, but I almost don't think it's fair. I don't know the Gamecocks will be favored in the game. I really don't. I really don't. At Mizzou, October the 28th. Excuse me, October the 21st. I wrote down the wrong date for some reason. October the 21st, South Carolina will travel to Como. And I know this is one that we all want desperately. This is one that Gamecock Nation, I mean, this has really, truly turned into the Kentucky streak and what that was and just how daunting that was, if you will. So I don't even know if it's fair to list this game on here. Because, again, it's a game that Gamecock fans year after year after year expect to win. Maybe we should give Missouri football a little bit more respect and a little bit more credit than we have. And I've mentioned that before, and I said the same thing about Kentucky when they were whipping the Gamecocks like a rented mule, and nobody wanted to hear it. And I know nobody wants to hear the same thing about Mizzou. But they beat you 4 in a row, and Eli Drinkwitz owns you at the moment. So I don't know if it's fair. I'm listing it with an asterisk because I don't think it's fair to put this as an honorable or to put this as a trap game. But there is a chance the Gamecocks come in there. They come in there favored. And that game against Mizzou, certainly one we want to see South Carolina football figure out. Now, this next one's not going to be very popular. And hey, 843-790-3377. You guys can call in, give me your thoughts, leave a voicemail, flood the chat line, flood the YouTube comments, and we can talk about this later in the show because I know this is one that is not going to sit well with you all. The next trap game on the schedule for me, at Texas A&M is not one. You're going to be the dog in College Station. Jacksonville State, of course, at home. You'll be the favorite. Saturday, November the 11th. You guys know I'm high on Clark Lee. I am not sitting here picking Vanderbilt to beat South Carolina. But one of these years, right? You've won, 14 in a row? One of these years, Vanderbilt's going to beat South Carolina. It's going to happen. Like, at some point, Carolina's not going to win 50 in a row. Like, at some point, Vandy is going to beat South Carolina. I'm not predicting it'll be this year, guys. Openly, admittedly, not to spoil my predictions, I don't think I'm going out on a limb and picking Vandy to beat Carolina. I'm not doing it. But I'm just saying, again, this is one where the kickoff time matters, in my opinion. The kickoff time absolutely matters. If this is a sleepy noon game at Willie B, you've got Kentucky, who may be ranked the following week, coming into Williams-Brice, right? Sleepy noon game. Oh, we're playing Vandy, no big deal, whatever. You might look up, and it might be like a tie ball game or a one-score ball game in the fourth quarter. I'm just saying, do not sleep on the Vanderbilt Commodores. They beat Florida last year, beat Kentucky last year. Clark Lee's building something. I'm not saying they're coming out of the cellar this year. I'm not saying they're beating the Gamecocks this year, but you talk about a trap game. You talk about what's the game that South Carolina could stub their toe. One of these years, it could be the Vandy game. It could be. Is it less likely to happen because it's at Williams-Brice? Yes. If the game's at night, do I give Vandy any chance? No, I don't. But if it's one of those noon games, against sleepy noon, SEC Network, Gamecocks maybe feeling a little bit fat and happy going in the second half. And South Carolina plays very good football in the second half under Shane Beamer. We've seen that, but that game Saturday, November the 11th against Vanderbilt, man, that's just one that I feel like at this point I'm kind of nervous every year looking at the Vandy game because I'm like, okay, when's the streak going to end? Like the streak's going to end one of these years. It's going to end, right? Does Vanderbilt have a better roster or as good a roster as South Carolina? Absolutely not. But upsets happen in college football, guys. Spencer Rattler has one of his 3 or 4 interception days. Carolina can't hold on to the football. They lose the turnover margin 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever. I'm just saying it could happen. It could happen. Trap game written all over it against Vandy on November the 11th. My final trap game on the schedule. It comes the following week, Saturday, November the 18th. And this is most certainly one that's a trap game. Again, this game's at Williams-Brice. This game's at Willie B. The game November the 18th against the Kentucky Wildcats. South Carolina beats Kentucky last year. Gamecock Nation is back to, hey, we're beating Kentucky every single year. Every single year. We will never lose to Kentucky ever again. This is a game you will see no one. Same story with the Vandy game, too, but you will see no one in Gamecock Nation picking Kentucky at home as a loss. You will see nobody doing it. You will see no one doing it. Kentucky, with Liam Cohen back at OC, they were very good under him. Devin Leary coming over from NC State. I like him as a QB. You know they're going to be solid on both lines of scrimmage. Offensive line was abysmal last year, but they are one of the teams that did work in the portal. Mark Stoops, still a really good coach. There'll be a lot of emotion in that ballgame. A lot of emotion because of the stupid sunglasses comment, Shane Beamer pulling out the glasses in the locker room. They'll bring a lot of emotion and energy in that game. That's a revenge game, quote unquote, for Kentucky. I know it's a home game. I'm just saying, though, that to me is a trap game because, again, the whole point of this exercise, guys, is to understand what is Vegas seeing? Like, where are they seeing the landmines in the schedule that could cause Carolina to hit that 6 number? Because Vegas obviously believes Carolina, there's a very good chance they go 6-6. Otherwise, they wouldn't set that total at 6. The following week against Clemson, obviously that's not a trap game. That just is going to be a really good football game. Kentucky, though, I could see being a trap game. A game everybody's picking to win. Again, I think the good news for Carolina is this. They have played their best football under Shane Beamer in the second half of each of his first 2 seasons. So Vandy, Kentucky, all these games in the second half, you should be playing your best football at that point. You should be playing your best football. But that Kentucky one's definitely one I've got circled as, okay, that's not going to be a gimme. That's not going to be a walk in the park. I mean, that might be a game that it's a single-digit spread, guys. It most likely will because I actually think Kentucky's going to have a pretty decent team this year. And, you know, you look across college football and all the prognostications and all the analysts and what have you, they all tend to agree. I mean, our friends over at Athlon have Kentucky going 8-4 to South Carolina's 7-5. So don't sleep on that game either. So, again, my biggest trap games on South Carolina's 2023 football schedule are as follows. Mississippi State on September the 23rd. Florida on October 14th. At Mizzou, October the 21st. Vandy at home on November the 11th. And Kentucky at home, November the 18th. Again, those five games, which I would consider all of those toss-ups, and there are more toss-ups on this schedule, but all of those toss-ups, I could see those all being trap games for South Carolina. And those are games that I think people right now are putting W next to those games in heavy black ink. Most of those games, I think Gamecock fans are, as the great Lee Corso would say, not so fast. You might want to take a second look. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Gamecocks go a perfect 5-0 in those games. It will not surprise me at all if they do not go a perfect 5-0 in those quote-unquote trap games that I just mentioned. So again, Mississippi State, Florida, at Mizzou, Vandy, Kentucky, all games you've got to be very careful with if you're Shane Beamer and this Gamecocks football team. Guys, we're going to jump into our first break of the day. On the other side, we'll keep the conversation rolling here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
What's up, guys? We're back here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. Again, I want to say thank you all so much for your continued love and support. It's been a fantastic week, and it's crazy. It's already Wednesday. I tell you, when you do something you love, the time flies by, man. And that's a blessing to say. You know, I know some folks, the week drags on. I remember when I was in the corporate world, it was like a race to Friday, and I was just looking forward to the weekend because I did not love what I do. I wasn't fulfilled by what I was doing sitting in the cube. And so it's a blessing to say that for me, I mean, guys, truly every day is Saturday. That's what it feels like. And I absolutely love what I do, and it's fulfilling and truly the joys in the journey. So thank you all so much, man. We're having a fantastic week. Really looking forward to, by the way, guys, tomorrow's show, we will dive into the South Carolina, Florida Super Regional. We'll go heavy on that. I know the last 2 days have been nothing but football chatter, which I know you all don't mind. But tomorrow we'll really dive into heavy the South Carolina, Florida series. I'm actually jumping on tonight with my friend in all kinds of weather.com, he and his co-host, and we will do sort of a roundtable talking about the series, breaking down the Gamecocks, Florida, update on how how their seasons have gone, if you will, since the last two teams met back in April. So going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, break down this weekend in its entirety, and I'll lock in my predictions. You guys know the drill, how we do this thing. That'll all come tomorrow and then, of course, on Friday as well. But in the meantime, let's keep the conversation rolling. As you all know, I am a huge fan of the EA Sports NCAA football video game series. And if you want to label me whatever, oh, you're talking about video games. Like, dude, the NCAA football video game series is iconic. It is. It is. If you can't appreciate it, if you can't enjoy it, I genuinely feel bad for you. I feel sorry for you. And these days, obviously, you know, I'm not a huge gamer. I don't sit around and game hardly ever, but we do love using it for content, as you guys all see for the NCAA football simulations and all the content that we make. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And as I've said before, if you can't see the fun in it, if you can't enjoy it, as Coach Shane Beamer says, find some joy, man. Just loosen up and laugh and live a little bit. It's a freaking video game simulation of how the Gamecocks football season will go. It's meant to be fun and funny and downright absurd at times, to be totally honest with you. And, of course, over the last couple of years, NCAA 14, the last game that was released, and our good friends over at College Football Revamped, my guy Chris over at SG1 Sports, he has been doing the rosters, been doing a great job. They've been revamping the game to make it look even better and make it look modern. But we have been sitting, waiting patiently for another installment of this NCAA football series to drop. And honestly, guys, I thought it would never happen. Well, we get the news. Guess what? NCAA football is back. And, of course, social media went crazy, right? And yours truly was fired up, excited. Great news for all of those that love college football and love the NCAA football series. Great news for us all, right? Then, to take it a step further, we find out that current players are going to be in the game, and they're going to be compensated through NIL. Great news yet again. We get the game, we get the current rosters, and the current players get paid for their name, their image, and their likeness. All good, right? Nope. We hit a snag this morning. Headline drops from On3 Sports and others, but this article coming from On3. And by the way, let me point this out. Justin Falcinelli is the vice president of the College Football Players Association. Okay? That is noteworthy information. Justin Falcinelli. Because this was the tweet that came out this morning from On3 NIL on Twitter. The CFBPA, again, the College Football Players Association, is organizing a boycott of the 2024 EA Sports college football video game. The payout for athletes is expected to be roughly $500. The quote from Falcinelli, quote, They should not opt into it. It is just a ridiculously low amount of money. Now, going into the actual article that was linked in that tweet, okay? EA Sports, has contracted one-team partners to facilitate college athletes' likeness. A source told On3 the cash pool for athletes was in the $5 million neighborhood, which would pay out to $500 per player. Sportico has also reported there are no royalties. Now, Justin Falcinelli, who I just mentioned, the vice president of the College Football Players Association, he is the one who is urging athletes to boycott the game with the hope that EA will reconsider its payout to athletes. Guys, guess where Justin Falcinelli played his college football? Yep, you guessed it. He was Clemson's starting center. He was Clemson's starting center who helped lead them to 2 national championships. So I think it's safe to say Clemson fans and Clemson themselves hates fun. I mean, honestly, because that's what the NCAA football video game series is. It's fun for us all. So, of course, it's a Clemson man, right? A Clemson man needs no introduction. No, he doesn't. He's just trying to ruin fun, and he probably hates children and everything else in between. He just hates pure fun. Anyways, you can tell I'm passionate about this. The quote coming from him, from Falcinelli, quote, all current players should boycott this deal. It is an opt-in deal, and they should not opt into it. It's just a ridiculously low amount of money. Given the context and the hype that surrounds this game, when we first heard the number, we're like, all right, that sounds low. Let's go figure out if it is low. And we started talking to guys, talked to some of my friends, some guys who were still playing in the NFL. So what are the players getting paid for Madden? And the numbers what we were given were from 2019. It was disclosed that they got, I think, about $17,000. And then a current NFL player told us that he got a check for $28,000 this year for Madden. Falcinelli continues, you should not participate in this. It is a simple cash grab to just try to get you for the lowest amount possible. And it's one-team partners and all these organizations that don't really represent the player's best interest. Now, let me once again state that I fully support NIL. I fully support college athletes getting compensated for their name, their image, and their likeness. But I want to go back to this point. What are players getting paid for in Madden? What are NFL players getting paid for being in the NFL game? Falcinelli, it's the NFL. College football is not the NFL. Stop trying to turn it into the NFL. And so these players are scoffing at $500. That's not enough. We're getting taken advantage of. $500 to do nothing. To do literally nothing but be enshrined in a video game forever. To do nothing. So the question now turns to this. The question turns to this. How should EA Sports respond to this? How should they respond to the NIL demands of these college football players and the College Football Players Association? Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I would say, okay, you don't want the 500? Fine. We're going to make the game anyways, because the biggest thing is you don't want the game delayed. We're going to make the game anyways, and we're going to make it with all generic players, and we're going to let the community that has created rosters for years since there's been no game. Shout out my guy Chris at SG1 Sports, which is where I get my rosters from. We're going to let the community that has created rosters for years, we're going to let them handle it. And guess what's going to happen? The game's going to sell at the exact same rate that it would have otherwise. Rosters will be created. Rosters will be uploaded, and guess what? You're going to get nothing. You're going to get nothing. Now, will they be able to negotiate? I respect good negotiation. I do. I respect good negotiation. You want to bump it up to 1,000, but bro, if they actually think they should be paying college athletes $17,000, $20,000, $25,000 to be in the video game, I think the folks at EA Sports are going to laugh them out of the room. And I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't blame the folks at EA Sports for laughing them out of the room. And I've really tried my hardest this morning to take out like the selfishness in this, because I understand I'm being selfish because I love the video game and I love the video game series. I also love what it means for content. And so I'm not in the position of these players, but like these dudes, let me say this, the ones who are getting enough NIL to scoff at $500, why does it matter? Like, how much more do you need? And then for guys like, let's say Hunter Rogers, right? The holder on South, or long snapper on the Gamecocks team. You know, let's say Mitch Jeter. Let's say, I don't know, Bradley Dunn at running back, right? I'm talking about guys you've never heard of. Let's say guys like, I don't know, Nathan Harris Wainick. You know, these guys that how much are they getting in NIL? They're going to turn down $500? I don't think so. So if I were EA Sports, in the nicest way possible, I'd say to hell with them, straight up. I would say, listen, we have all the leverage. We want you in the game. We would like to advertise this game. Or what you could do is just go by player basis. This is the number. But the thing is this, the College Football Players Association wants to boycott everyone being in. So I don't know if it's something where like 50% of all players could be in, the other 50% will be generic, right? I don't know. They could do that. But if I was EA Sports, I'd say to hell with them. Like straight up, you know what? Hey, this game's going to sell with or without you. Flat out. The game is going to sell with or without you. And it is very easy. I mean, it is very easy these days to download a roster. It is very easy. Like, it is insanely easy. And it's insanely easy to just go edit the players yourself if you really want to. Make the ratings all the same, like what the team should be rated, but put all generic players. You ain't got to put the right numbers or anything. Just sell the game with the ability to change all of that. So, looking at it from the business side, I mean, we'll see. I know EA doesn't want to do anything to risk pushing the game back. But I said it yesterday too, man. Like, and it might have seemed harsh on Twitter, but like, I really just, dude, you're just an asshole, dude. You're an asshole if you've got a stupidly high, if like this Justin Falcinelli guy, like you're telling players they should be asking for like, well, they're getting 17,000, the guys that are in Madden. Bro, they're in the NFL. Is there any incentive going to the NFL anymore? Is there any incentive? Is there any incentive of trying to get to the NFL? Get your bag. I'm cool with it, but a video game? It's a video game. It's a video game. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I just, maybe the two sides can come together and agree on a number that makes sense. But, dude, I just, if they can't reach this agreement again, I think EA Sports should just tell them, hey, to hell with it. Nobody's in the game. Nobody gets anything except the end consumers who will get the game on time, and they can have their way with changing rosters and stuff like that. And then the players are going to feel really silly, and a guy like Justin Falcinelli is going to have screwed them out of getting anything. Do your little negotiation song and dance. Do it, but don't play yourself, Justin, because they'll pull the plug on and say, we're going to release the game. We don't need current players. Because all we want is an updated college football game with accurate schools, accurate stadiums. That's all we really want. We'll handle the rest. Guys, we're going to jump into another break on the other side. We'll keep the conversation rolling here on this Wednesday, June the 7th. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Nice old doggy, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. Don't forget, we got my good friend JD PicKell of On3 Sports. So we'll get some NCAA chatter with our good friend JD, someone who I know loves the NCAA football series and wants to see the game come back. We'll get some chatter with him. Of course, JD PicKell is upcoming, that conversation at 1:15. Also, of course, after that, your Q&A Power Hour will be live, where we'll take your questions, your comments, your calls as well. And guys, if you can't call in that third hour, go ahead and give us a ring, 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. You can also text that number or flood the YouTube chat with your questions, and we'll get those answered in our Q&A Power Hour. So again, really excited. JD PicKell, who joins us each and every single Wednesday. Of course, he was not able to last week because he was at the On3 Sports event that took place, which we'll talk about more when he jumps on with us. But again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Your continued love and support. We are rocking and rolling this week. And like I mentioned, top of the show, just stay tuned for some big announcements potentially for this weekend in regards to watch parties for the South Carolina, Florida Super Regionals. I wish I would have contacted them earlier. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I woke up this morning and was like, wait a minute. Those games are on ESPN2. We could go out and watch them. We'll see. Either way, I could just say, hey, let's just meet up here. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll find out. Just stay tuned, though. Just stay tuned. I know you guys don't need much notice, but for those that are not making the trip to Gainesville, I know that would be a really, really good time. All right, we're going to keep the convo rolling, guys, here on this Wednesday. And as I mentioned earlier, we began yesterday our top 5 series. Now, let me give you some idea. Last year, what we'll go through in our top 5 series, right? I mean, I will do everything, right? Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. I mean, yesterday we did top 5 favorite games to rewatch, coaches, 2001s, all kinds of stuff. This is truly the epitome of list season. So as the top 5 series continues, tomorrow and Friday, admittedly, there will not be top 5 list because we're going to dive, like I mentioned, totally into the baseball side of things. But we're keeping it rolling here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023, as I list my top 5 best helmets in South Carolina football history. And I know this is a lot of fun. I am a uniform guy. Love talking uniforms, love talking helmets. And so we're going to run through these, my top 5, what I think are the best helmets in South Carolina football history. And I will be dropping a graphic later today. So if you want the visual, you can get that after the fact on social media. But I will do my best to describe these helmets. And I'm sure all of you that are tuned in are all diehard Gamecock fans. You are all going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's get into this list, and a list that I know that will be a highly, highly debated list for sure. Coming in at number 5 on my list. And it's funny, when I was making this last year, I had a bit of a change of heart, right? Because I used to be someone who loved matte, right? The matte, the flat paint, if you will, the matte paint that sort of became a thing over the last, what would you say, decade or so, right? Teams have gotten really creative with helmets. We've seen matte, we've seen chrome, like the reflective helmets. I mean, teams have really gone out there with helmets. So I used to be a diehard, or at least a fan of the matte black. And the matte black, of course, was introduced by Will Muschamp when he got to South Carolina. And I'm certainly not saying it looks bad, right? It doesn't look bad at all. But coming in at number 5 for me, the 2004 glossy black helmets that South Carolina wore in the final year of the Lou Holtz era. Number 1, you got to have a black helmet on this list, right? Like, the fact that we don't wear black more often, right? For some reason, I don't know if Shane Beamer is superstitious and he doesn't like all black, or he doesn't like the black jerseys, or whatever it might be, right? You got to have black in this rotation. The black glossy helmet, I love the way it shines in the lights. The picture that I have included here, you can see like the reflection of the stadium in the helmet. And I'm not saying I dislike matte necessarily, but I feel like matte black and matte as a whole is more of a fad, whereas glossy, I could see that being here to stay. It would also match your other helmets. You don't have a matte white helmet. You don't have a matte garnet helmet, but you have a matte black helmet. So at number 5 for me, the 2004 helmet, all black, black face mask, black lid, if you will, but the glossy black helmet with the block C with a white background on it. Hey, you can even, guys, I'll go as far as this. I'm admittedly not a big white circle around the block C guy. I'm really not. But you could do that on this helmet, and I still think it would look really, really good. So number 5 for me, the 2004 all black, glossy black helmets worn in the final year of the Lou Holtz era. Coming in at number 4, the helmets worn by South Carolina in their 1969 ACC championship season when Paul Dietzel was head coach. They wore these helmets 1969 to 1974, and they are white helmets with a gray face mask. Now, what do I love about these helmets more than anything? My favorite thing about these helmets is this. You've got just the Gamecock logo, which I think is really underrated. Like, I think just the Gamecock logo is really underrated. I think we should honestly use it more often. And then this is the helmet that has the Gamecock holding the banner that has scholarship and leadership underneath the Gamecock. And let me also be clear. I'm not arguing that these helmets, like these should be our permanent helmets, if you will. We should wear these every game. But these are just my top 5 favorite helmets in South Carolina football history. I think this helmet is so cool. I love the Gamecock holding a sash with scholarship and leadership on it. And I would honestly, guys, personally, I would love to see, and the fact we haven't seen one's crazy, but I would love to see 1969 throwback jerseys, throwback helmet. I know last year they brought out the helmet with just the C on it. They brought out that helmet with just the C on it, and I don't know exactly. Let's see. When was that worn? That helmet was worn. I don't recall. Okay, 1968, it looks like that helmet was worn. 1968, the Gamecocks wore that helmet. So they brought that helmet out. But the 1969 and 1974, and guys, I'll tell you this too on a side note. It is crazy. If you go to helmethistory.com and you look at South Carolina, it is insane. It's insane that we just have not been able to stick with a helmet. It seems like forever we have not been able to stick with a helmet for whatever reason. Either way, number 4 on my list, the 69 to 74 scholarship and leadership helmets that the Gamecocks wore when they won the ACC championship back in 1969 under Paul Dietzel. Coming in at number 3 on my list, and this is an iconic helmet because of the player who wore it. All I have to say to you is the George Rogers helmets. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. These helmets were worn from 1975 to 1981. And what makes these stand out so much is the huge oversized block C, the garnet face mask, of course, the white shell garnet face mask. You've got the 2 black stripes with a garnet stripe in the middle, and you've got the stars on the helmet. Again, George Rogers wore this helmet in his Heisman Trophy season. And this is another one where I'm really surprised that there is not a throwback set with this helmet because it's such an iconic helmet in Gamecocks football history. I love, guys, too, and I'll tell you this, on jerseys, on helmets, I love the oversized. Like, I love, like, the big logos. I love big numbers. It's one of the reasons why I love the 2010 jerseys And also the 05 and 06 jerseys, the numbers are very big. The Carolina really big across the chest. And I love the oversized block C in the Gamecock because honestly, guys, if the block C in the Gamecock's too small, it literally just looks like a blob. You can't even tell what it is. You oversize that block C, you oversize that Gamecock. And again, the fact that George Rogers wore this helmet, it's one of the most iconic in school history. Of course, South Carolina has brought back the garnet face masks, which, I think a lot of people are fans of. I'm not the biggest fan of. If you're going to go all the way throwback, go all the way throwback. Like if you're going to go some of the way, go all the way. But for number 3 on my list, one of the most iconic, as I mentioned, 1975 to 1981. Simply put, the George Rogers helmets. Coming in at number 2 on my list. And as I mentioned previously, I'm not a big white circle guy. I'm really not. I'm not a big white circle guy when it comes to the helmets. I know there's so many of you that grew up in the 90s pulling for the Gamecocks. You love those helmets. And those exact helmets are the ones that are number 2 on my list. 1989 to 1998. South Carolina's garnet helmets with the white circle, block C, and the Gamecock inside. Black stripe down the middle of the helmet with 2 thin white stripes on the outside of it and a black face mask. And this is another one again, guys. It's just, while I may not be the biggest fan of the white circle, it works on this helmet. It works on this helmet. And it's such an iconic helmet yet again. It was so cool, side note, when I went to interview Brad Lawing at his house. And Brad Lawing, as I mentioned before, guys, has I would put his man cave up against anybody's because his stuff is like literally from the field, game used, signed by the greatest Gamecocks in school history. And he's got all the helmets displayed of where he's coached. The coolest thing is this. They are helmets he took from when he was there. So, he has a South Carolina helmet from his time at South Carolina. What was he there? 1990 to 98, I think. He was there basically that entire tenure. He's got a helmet that is directly from the tenure, and it is a beautiful, beautiful helmet. The white circle works in this situation. A garnet helmet. I just feel like, hey, we've got white helmets, we got black. You got to have a garnet helmet on this list. And if paired correctly, if paired with the right uni combo, the garnet helmet pops. The garnet helmet pops. Also, we talk a lot about the color garnet. That could be a completely separate show about why can't the University of South Carolina, why can't they get the color garnet right? They got it right in these helmets. These 1990s era helmets, it's a perfect shade of garnet. It looks incredible. The Carolina on the front bumper also just one of the great helmets of all time. So number 2 on my list, 1989 to 1998, the garnet helmets with the white circle. Coming in at number 1 on my list. And admittedly, guys, I am a less is more person when it comes to uniform. So, I put out a post out there about the, bring back the 05, 06 look, the simplified, and many folks did not agree. But I'm just less is more, man. I think you can get too busy, too complicated, too many stripes. Make the uniform. Make it all match. And so, in my opinion, this is the best helmet. It is the cleanest helmet South Carolina has ever worn. It's one of the few helmets. I think it honestly stuck around longer than any helmet ever has. And it is South Carolina's traditional white helmets with the 3 stripes, right? Black stripe down the middle, 2 garnet stripes on the outside, black face mask, again, white lid with the block C and the Gamecock. The helmet's worn 2005 to 2019 before Will freaking Muschamp switched up the stripes on the helmet, which I don't know why Shane Beamer does not go back to the traditional stripes, whatever it is, what it is. If you're winning games or as long as you're winning games, I don't find myself caring about uniforms quite as much. But these 05 to 2019 helmets, the helmets that Steve Spurrier brought back, the helmets that stuck around for so long, the helmets that South Carolina literally wore in their best years of football ever, those are number one on my list. So again, going back through it, my top 5 best helmets in Carolina football history. Coming at number 5, the 2004 black glossy helmets. Coming at number 4, the 1969 to 1974 white with gray face mask, scholarship, and leadership banner helmets. Coming at number 3, 1975 to 1981, the George Rogers helmets. Coming at number 2, 1989 to 1998, the garnet helmets with the white circle. And coming in at number 1, 2005 to 2019, the traditional white helmets with the traditional 3 stripes. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. On the other side, really excited to chat with my friend JD PicKell of On3 Sports. We have a lot to discuss. Guys, you're tuned in. Appreciate you all. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, guys. We got my good friend JD PicKell upcoming in the next couple of minutes, 1:15 officially. Austin Moore asked this question, just tuned in. What didn't we wear those? Or he said, what didn't we wear those as much last year? The classic white and block. See, when we wear them, Austin, we don't have the traditional three stripes, my friend. Take a closer look. We don't have the traditional three stripes. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right now, we've got like these thin stripes. We've got the thin stripes, and it is the black on the outside with garnet in the middle. The traditional helmet I'm talking about is the thicker stripes, garnet on the outside, black in the middle. These little things matter, my guy. These little things do matter. They do. And I'm not trying to be nitpicky or anything, but I mean, I don't know. Just my preference. Just my preference. We still look sleek. We still look really good. Don't get me wrong. We still look really good. Guys, a quick side note, too, before JD gets in here. Watched a movie last night. The Most Dangerous Game. Actually, this would be a fun topic, and maybe I'll get with JD on this. Watched a movie last night. I think it's called The Most Dangerous Game. It was on, let me look this up. It was on, with Liam Neeson. It was on Amazon Prime. Okay. I think this is let's see. No, I don't know if this is what it's called or not. Or maybe it's called A Dangerous Game. Maybe that's what it's called. Is it A Dangerous Game? Let's see. Dangerous Game, Liam. Or is it? Okay, Liam Hemsworth. My bad. I got the wrong Liam. I think I may be wrong. Liam Hemsworth. Okay. Liam Hemsworth. Yes. Plays as Dodge Tynes. Yes. Okay, so they made a movie out of this. I think this was a show, but they made a movie out of it. And basically the plot of the movie is this. He thinks he's terminally ill with cancer, right? He thinks he has cancer and he's trying to support his family and he needs money and he's broke. And so he agrees to be hunted for 24 hours. And it's like every hour he stays alive, he gets 50 grand in his bank account. The next hour, he gets 100 added, then 150 added. And if he makes it all the way through 24 hours, he gets like 25 million. And even if he gets killed at like hour 12, his family gets to keep however much it is. So it'd be like a couple million, right? But there are people literally, there's like 5 hunters. They're all trying to kill him. So we really could just turn it to this. I feel like this is just such a silly question. Like, how much do you love the Gamecocks? Would you play the dangerous game for if you stayed alive at the end of the 24 hours, the Gamecocks win the national championship of football? Is that a crazy thing to ask? I don't think it is because I think some people would say yes. I don't know. I think people would go to great lengths to see the Gamecocks potentially win the national championship. I have no idea. Again, guys, we're going to get JD PicKell on in just a second. But, again, check out the movie on Amazon Prime. Check out the movie. I don't know if many of you, I probably would not do it. I probably would not do it being hunted for 24 hours. I would rather just trust him, Beamer, let him recruit and do his thing. But if something like that existed, would you partake? Again, I just only ask because I think there's some people that would say yes. I don't know. Either way, all right, let's get him in here. JD PicKell on 3 Sports. He joins the show. JD, what's going on, my friend? What would you do? Hey, what's the craziest thing you would do to assure your team will win a national championship? I doubt you would. You'd be hunted for 24 hours, right?
Man, that's steep. That's a steep price to pay for your team to win a national title, man. I think it would have to be. I mean, I could go like an hour. Like having somebody hunt you for an hour in general is like a daunting thing, and like that in itself would be like, man, someone's trying to kill me for an hour. But I think I could do an hour if Cornell were to win a national title. Like I could go that. I mean, also it's been like if like South Carolina is going to have a chance, right? Like just in regards like the expanded playoff and all that, like they could eventually get there. Like, dude, for Cornell to compete for a national title, there would be some seriously messed up stuff that would have to happen. I don't know what kind of matrix stuff would have to be in play. So I'll have to say, if I had my one window of opportunity, I might have to make like Marshall Mathers and make that moment happen. So
I will
That's
say
where I land on it here.
the
I'm gonna
one thing I
adjust
forgot to
and show
mention,
you.
the rules of that game, they weren't allowed to use guns, right? So it was like all hand-to-hand combat. So and the objective
Whoa.
of the movie was like he was trying to stay obviously in very crowded places because they can't just do it out in the open. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
there's some rules to it I didn't mention, but I personally wouldn't do it. Hey, Shane Beamer, if you can't get it done,
It's steep, man. It's
sorry,
steep.
man.
Like
Sorry.
some things aren't life and death, you know?
Right, right. Some things are not. Some things
Maybe college football may or may not be one of those things.
yeah. Depends on who you ask. Depends on who you ask. Like, well, I mean, why not? Anyways, JD, on to more pressing issues, man. Again, appreciate you you taking the time. It is great to see you. I know we did not have you last week because you were at the event that On3 Sports was throwing. Tell us a little bit more about that. I know there were top prospects all over the place, and Shannon Terry continues to just crush the game with the stuff that he's doing, and you guys are doing it on 3. But what specifically was the event for those of us who maybe did not see it?
Yeah, man. So it was the On3 NIL Elite Series, and the purpose of the event was to bring some of the top prospects in the country to Nashville to just get some education on the wild landscape that NIL, I think, is perceived to be, and just kind of give them, we had speakers from Kirk Herbstreit to Olivia Dunn, who's obviously dominated the NIL space, to, Vaynerchuk was there. Like we had a lot of people that just have a great gauge for not just the sport, but also the NIL landscape, and just got really, really strong reviews from parents and kids just saying, okay, I think we have a better gauge here for how to handle this and how to go forward. And so the beautiful part for me, Chris, is I just got to sit down along with Josh Newberg, one of our national recruiting analysts here for On3, and just pick these kids' brains on their recruitment, how they're perceiving NIL. And that was all in the front of this event. So we got to talk to them and get a gauge for it. And no, it was a blast, man. Really, like you said, what Shannon Terry is building here, I'm just very, very grateful and fortunate to be a part of. And it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And I know you mentioned, JD, was Dylan Stewart present? Were you able to chat with him at all? I'm not asking you to tell any secrets or anything, but I mean, did you get a sense? I know Gamecocks are right there in it with him. He's obviously, the most coveted prospect in the 2024 class, and a guy that certainly is seeing, I'm sure, NIL opportunities upcoming. But did he talk about his recruitment at all, or how NIL's impacting that, or what did you take away from? I know Dylan Stewart's obviously a name that Gamecock fans or the ears perk up anytime they hear it.
Absolutely. No, I mean, for us at the time of us, doing the interview with him, he was the number one player in the 2024 class. I mean, there's a ton of intrigue around him. He had previously said he wanted to make a decision before his senior season. So of course he sits down with us, and that's the number one thing we're asking him is all right, is that timeline still in play? And it was interesting how he answered it. He said he's going to take it probably closer to December. And then we asked him as to why he would do that. And he's like, I want to let my stock, continue to build. And whether that's from an NIL perspective or maybe just an overall buzz perspective around his recruitment, sounds like he's going to take it down to that, early signing period, which is funny. We call it early. It's just, the signing period. Asked him about South Carolina and, where they stood. He said he likes them a lot, is what I read into it and got. Asked him, who do you have the best relationship with in terms of staffs across the country? And he was like, South Carolina. So I think South Carolina is going to be a real player for him just based on, what they say, track the visits, right? Watch the visits don't lie. And he's been to South Carolina a whole heck of a lot. So I think the Gamecocks are in it for him. And I'm excited to see how it goes the rest of the way with him. But I'll say this, Chris, you said, hey, do you have any some insider trading for us? And I was like, man, anything he said to us, he said on camera, he was very much kept it to the vest, was not trying to say a whole lot, very, very mild-mannered kid. And he was someone that I think was maybe looking to, not make headlines or anything like that. So, I'm very, very curious to see how his recruitment develops and how much comes up about his recruitment with the way that he's handling it right now.
And JD, recruiting is such an interesting thing this time of year because it's really from the college football perspective. I mean, it's really all we have to follow outside of, I know there's a lot of chatter right now with the 8-game, 9-game stuff with the SEC and obviously the single standings model that's taking place. So there's some things to talk about, but right now it's probably the most, I would say June's probably the most dead month of the college football calendar year from the fan perspective, at least. But it's so funny to watch on social media because, of course, over the last couple of days, and I know this is something you talked about specifically on your show about the success that Clemson's having, picking up, top linebacker in the country. They get a 4-star receiver. They get another guy. And so I guess from your perspective, and I don't even know how I want to phrase this, but like, it's funny how fans will freak out because it's almost like people forgot that, these schools like Clemson, Georgia, whatever, they're still going to recruit at a high level. Like they just are. Like Clemson's not going to just all of a sudden fall off of the map. It's just going to come down to, if you're Shane Beamer, get the ones you need, get the ones that fit, develop the heck out of them, and find a way to beat them on the field. But it's not something where I feel like sometimes fans just, and again, social media is what it is, but it's like they hit the panic button when the rival school gets a commitment. It's just like, if you do that, you're going to drive yourself crazy, especially when your rivals are freaking Clemson and Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, first off, am I allowed to talk positive on Clemson on this show? Will I be invited back?
The beauty's in the banter, man. I welcome it. The beauty's in the banter. Trust me.
No, I mean, I think even South Carolina fans would agree. Like what Clemson's done here in the last 48 hours has been phenomenal for them. I mean, we had them in our on3 industry rankings at I think 14 2 days ago, and they're all the way up within the top 5 now. So they've definitely made some moves. But Chris, you said it, like we have so far to go until December. Like a lot of these kids are committed across the country, but we're still, I mean, you and I both know just the nature of the game, and a lot of people watching your show know we're going to see flips. We're going to see action. Nothing's final till pen meets paper. And even then, we got to make sure they show up on campus with, the Jaden Rashada situation that happened. I would also say this. You mentioned like people hitting the panic button because they see the rankings change and schools move. Like Clemson has 8 commits or 9 commits, something like that. Like these classes are going to fill up well into the double digits across the board. So it's early in the race. And so, you're always juiced if you land a 5-star linebacker like Sammy Brown. But at the same exact time, you understand, hey, this is kind of a marathon here, not so much the sprint. So kind of a game of runs is the recruiting landscape. And I 1,000% believe South Carolina is going to go on another run like they did earlier. It feels like a few weeks ago. And, Coach Beamer is I think, cooking with gas. And especially if they have some success on the field, they're going to put themselves in a really good spot for a lot of these top guys come December. So that's where I stand on the whole deal with Clemson. A lot of ball left to be played, but good for Clemson getting some top prospects.
Yeah, Jaden, I would say this to follow up that, this may not be a very popular take, but as much as there's a part of me that wants to see them lose every game, Clemson lose every single game, there's also another part of me that thinks how much fun would it be if both these teams were top 10 every year in recruiting. And Carolina Clemson kind of became what Ohio State Michigan is, where it's just like, I mean, it really asserts itself as one of the best rivalries in college football. I think back to like 10-13 when Carolina went on that 5-game winning streak. And one of the reasons it was so sweet is because Clemson was really good and Carolina was beating a really good team. So, granted, there's another part of me that wouldn't mind if they went 0-12 every year, but that's kind of beside the point. JD, I know you're a big fan of the NCAA football video game series, as am I. Heck, I literally utilize it for content. The news dropping this morning from actually you guys on3 NIL with the College Football Players Association organizing a boycott of the 2024 EA Sports college video game. The payout expected to be roughly $500 for athletes. They are pushing back on that. They want more. The game dropping when it was supposed to may be in jeopardy. JD, say it ain't so, my man. Say it ain't so. We have waited a decade for the new game, and now we've got this little riffraff going on. Your just overall thoughts on it. I understand players want to be compensated. They want to be paid through NIL. I agree. I pay them. But, like, man, come on, man. Like, we got to find a way to get this game out there. Where you stand on all of it?
One, shout out Pete Nakos, an Al reporter for us here, been all over this. I believe he broke the news. 2, I think I quote tweeted that and it was just like, man, we just want the game. Like, if you're a high profile guy, and I don't know what the situation is as to which players are saying they want more money or they're going to boycott, but like, let's just use the most high profile player we could think of here. And that's going to be Caleb Williams, just won a Heisman Trophy. If anybody deserves to get a bag from anything, it's Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams is probably not getting his bag from the NCAA video game. He's getting it from, whatever brand deals he has in place. I think Allo is a big player with him. I know Beats by Dre is a big player with him. Like, let's all just like lock arms here. We all want this game back. Like, I was talking to Andy Witry, another one of our NL reporters here for On3, and he's like, for some of these guys, it is the nostalgia play. Like, hey, I loved this game growing up. I have a chance to be in it. Like, pay me $500, pay me $1. Like, I'm in. I don't care. And that's, I think, the way that I would lean if I'm a player today. Like, yes, if you're worth what you think you're worth in the sense that you should boycott this game, like, maybe it's time to check ourselves and reevaluate. If I'm getting my bag from the NIL video, or excuse me, from the NCAA video game and NIL, maybe that's a conversation itself. We got to look in the mirror and figure out, hey, if this is where I'm getting my money, why can't I get it somewhere else? So, I mean, the whole thing I would hope is a speed bump in the road to us ultimately getting to this game. But I mean, we just want the game, dude. Like, let's download rosters. Let's figure it out. Like, if I got to play with quarterback 13 at USC, fine. Like, let's get the game.
That was my point too, JD, is I'm like, dude, there are people actively in the community that have been making rosters for years. Like, bro, just give us the schools, give us the teams, the stadiums, and then give us generic rosters, and the community will handle the rest. No doubt.
We've been fine the whole time. We've been fine the whole time,
dude,
right? Like,
I've got the
revamped.
Yeah, I've got the revamped. I've got the updated rosters. Like, we are good to go, my friend. We are good to go. But I would prefer. I literally bought a PS4, or excuse me, a PS5. The only reason I bought it was because I thought NCAA football was dropping this summer. It's the only reason I bought it. I'm not even a huge gamer like that, so it's just waiting. The PS5 is waiting. So, what's I mean, I'm sure you're like me and you grew up playing the game. What was your favorite edition of NCAA? And I feel like everybody's got some stories too. I've got stories from like sitting around playing with my buddies, and I'm talking about like growing up. Like, a lot of my buddies were Clemson fans. I was the Gamecock dude. Like, we would play Carolina Clemson, and it would get heated. Like, it would get heated, man. The back and forth.
It has to. Like, if you haven't almost lost a friend playing this video game,
dude,
like, what are you doing? Like what? Like, you're not playing the game the right way if you don't have some sort of like almost losing your friendship story from NCAA. Man, favorite edition. I feel like they really kicked it up with the option game, like around, I guess it was 2013, 2014 is what my memory says. And like the triple option, bro, with like the full house formation with like New Mexico's playbook. That to me changed the whole game, because I was an option quarterback in high school, at least early in my high school career. So I'm like reading the pitch key, reading the down lineman. Okay, what's his alignment? Like, that to me was a playground. So I think that was one of my favorite additions. But I think everybody would agree the way they just kept adding layers to the road to glory mode is a beautiful thing. And I'm very, very curious to see how they handle that with NIL and the transfer portal. Like, am I going to go to, a group of 5 school and transfer to South Carolina after my freshman year? If I ball out, I don't have a little NIL money coming my way to where I can like soup my player up a little bit. I don't know, but I'm curious to see.
And we now know the transfer portal is going to be in the video game. So
you're
going to be actively making business decisions with your roster.
I
just can't even imagine. Like, I just can't even imagine. Like, will you meet these demands of your second string tight end? It's like, nah, we'll go recruit. It's fine. No, I'd probably say my favorite for the nostalgia factor too. But I remember how excited I was when I think it was the 07 game was the one that introduced the spotlight player thing, and his little circle would be blinking when he was like in the zone. And I think that was also the one that had the stadium noise meter that would like go up, and like, the swamp was always number 1 as the toughest place to play. And it would just be like deafening. I don't know. Those were fun.
You can't see the playbook anymore.
No, you can't see the playbook. Yeah. I'll never forget. I'll tell you this little side note story. I feel like this has been a story I've been sitting on forever, but my most notable NCAA experience, I was playing a buddy. It's Carolina Clemson. Dude, I even remember like the game we were playing. It was at Clemson. We would alternate who's the home team, but it was we went to overtime. I scored a touchdown. He got the ball back, obviously, goes down to the 1, 1st and goal, stop him 4 straight times. And I remember like stopping him on 4th and goal and just like throwing the controller. And like, I mean, bro, like that still stands out to me as a memory from playing that game. I'm like 15 years old, but like, stop him on the goal line, 4th and inches. Like, just it's
like y'all weren't good probably for at least like 30 minutes to an hour.
Right, it took about a solid hour. It took about a solid hour for sure. Yeah. It was like, go to the other room, like let's have a cool down type of period, you know what I'm saying? So good times, man. Good
and
times.
It's always the game's fault. It's always, bro, that was a glitch.
Yeah.
Bro, how did that the game is
to be fair though, you do recall like those early games, you could literally like, if you were playing as if they threw a deep pass and you're playing as the DB, you could like slow down the receiver and then just pick the ball off. Like, there were definitely ways to do it. But
that was all part of it. That was all part of it too. It's like, you got to know the tricks of the trade. that can get you, you know, that can make you some extra edge or whatever it was. But no,
Yes.
that's awesome, man. I love that.
No, exactly. So, JD, back to things that are happening on the field in the real world. I know, again, we didn't have you last week, so we didn't get to mention this. The whole, what's your thoughts with everything going on with the SEC? I love, by the way Greg Sankey's approaching everything, because he's just like the Don of it all, and he understands they have leverage. They are, I'm sure they're in negotiations with ESPN. Like, why do something when you don't have to in regards to the 8-game, 9-game conference schedule? Hey, I thought Greg Sankey had a great quote. I'm paraphrasing, but when he said, talking about, are you worried about backlash of the best conference? Like, well, did you see the national championship game, 65-7? Like, yeah, I think we're fine. We're playing the best football. Your overall thoughts, though, on the SEC's decision to, at least in the short term, like, I think 9 games is down the road somewhere, but to stay at that 8-game conference schedule and at the same time go to the single standings model with Texas and Oklahoma joining the lead. I know Gamecock fans are a little bit uneasy about it, because I think, honestly, JD, and I talked about this a couple of days ago, like, I think it decreases South Carolina's chances of ever winning the SEC championship, because there's so many more, I think, hurdles to leap now. But the good news with the expanded playoff, I think now that kind of becomes the goal of, like, that's actually an easier goal to achieve than winning the SEC, because there's just so many more quality teams you have to jump over. So anyways, your just overall thoughts on everything that's happening with the SEC right now.
No, I think you hit it right on the head. Like, SEC, Greg Sankey, they're playing chess here. I think every time I say SEC, my computer thinks I'm talking to Siri. No, I think the SEC is playing chess here. Hey, listen, maybe we'll go to 9 games, but not before we get a look at what 8 games looks like, not before we get a look at what the college football playoff looks like and how y'all treat multiple loss teams. Like I said it on our show, I think if the SEC sees a 3-loss team make the college football playoff in 2024, they will strongly consider 9 games. Now, that's my feel. That's based purely off of what I, believe that they'll do. No factual reporting. But when it comes to, how they're going to handle things, I think the TV money is obviously a big part of it, and they want to have ESPN compensate them for that 9th conference game, which, as a fan, we don't care, but it makes sense if you're, sitting in the SEC's chair. I'll say this. I think that making the college football playoff, it has to be priority number 1, 2, and 3 for the SEC, because the money that's going to come long-term from your school making the college football playoff, heck, making a run in the college football playoff, from the exposure, the potential enrollment benefits you get there, I mean, just your brand overall, like, that's where you're really going to make money that continues to come in. And I'm sure that TV money, whatever it ends up being, if they were to get, a lump sum from ESPN or whatever network, like, I'm sure it would be a pretty high number. But that number that's going to keep rolling in year after year for making the college football playoff, should be very, very strongly considered, and I think will be at the top of their list. Because, I mean, if you're opening yourself up to a 9th conference game, Chris, like, if we're going to play in the toughest conference in America and we got to play another one of those teams, heck, maybe it's late in the year when we're kind of on the bubble to getting in, like, no, we're going to go play G5 or we're going to go play FCS, and, like, we're going to make sure that we have our seat at the table. We're not ruining this thing by having to play Georgia late or Bama late. Like, what does that help us if we're the SEC? So that's, I think, kind of how they're handling it, and I think that's very, very wise with where they sit right now doing the 8-game season for 2024.
So are you in favor of that then, sticking at 8, or do you like 9? Because I hear what you're saying, but I also love the thought of just as a college football fan, it's like more quality games, more fun. I mean, I think back to 2020, and obviously that was a terrible, crazy time, but, like, that 10-game conference schedule, just 10 games of, no cupcakes, like, that was a lot of fun. That was, I mean, just highlight matchups or top matchups every single week. But, I mean, from the Gamecock side, again, to your point, it's like you add a 9th conference game and you're still having to play Clemson. Like, I mean, it just, it's going to be brutal every year. And then, God forbid, you schedule somebody else like a North Carolina. So, I mean, I'm someone, I'll tell you this, JD, this is where I stand on it, because I'm someone, again, from the Gamecock perspective, heck, I go as far to say, dude, I don't even want to see South Carolina schedule like North Carolina. Just, dude, you got to play Clemson, obviously. Give me 3 cupcakes. Give me 3 built-in wins.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Kentucky and Mizzou. They've mastered this. Missouri plays nobody for the first 4 weeks, it feels like, every year. And you look up and you're like, how's Mizzou 4-0? It's because they played, Northwest Missouri State 4 times in a row. Like, they play nobody, but they've mastered it. Like, Kentucky does the same thing. They play nobody, dude, in the non-conference. So it's like no wonder Mark Stoops doesn't want a ninth conference game. He wants to keep winning 8 games, but going 4-0 in non-conference. Like, I get why he doesn't want a ninth conference game. But from the college, just football fan side of things, I love the added competition. So, I mean, I think there's a balancing act. But do you lean strongly one way or the other, or where do you fall on it?
Yeah, I think what you said is 100% true. Like, if I'm a fan of a specific team and I'm like, this is our shot. Like, if I'm South Carolina, exactly, we still got to play Clemson and we're going to play North Carolina, and then that's supposed to somehow equate to us being in that college football playoff hunt. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm not rooting for that. But as a college football fan of the sport, you're like, I want to see the best matchups every single weekend. I want it all. I want us to have a Friday night, or I'll say this, I want us to have a Saturday night after all the games finish. We look to the week ahead and we're like, man, college game day could go 5 different places and it would be awesome. Like there's 5 matchups that are worthy of college game day showing up at. Like, that's the kind of world as a college football fan I would love to live in. I think for the SEC, there's one part of their, operation that's got to be in their own self-interest. But if I'm a fan, it's just like, I want to see the best college football matchups possible. Like, heck yeah, let's go to 9 games and let's absolutely go just gladiator style in the SEC.
JD, let's switch gears a little bit, because on today's show, earlier in the show, I talked biggest trap games, because Circa Sports dropped their over-under win total in South Carolina football, and it's yet another total that's at 6. So I'm trying to wrap my brain around and trying to give some perspective to the audience of, like, where are they coming up with this number? What are the games that maybe, Gamecock fans are looking at, that I know Gamecock fans are going to be quick to put just a W, just mark it off as a W, right? Every fan base does this, that it's like, maybe you should give that one a second look. So, JD, I'm going to ask you the games that I listed, and I'm not going to mention Missouri. I threw them on the list as an asterisk, but I think to call that a trap game at this point, they beat you 4 in a row. You got to go to their place.
Mm-hmm.
You probably shouldn't be favored. I mean, flat out, I look at a trap game as like, you're favored, you expect to win. At this point, I have no confidence against Eli Drinkwitz. But I list games like Mississippi State at home,
yep,
Florida at home, believe it or not, JD, Vandy at home, and Kentucky at home. Which of those 4 do you think that South Carolina fans should, or which would you label as the biggest trap game? Is there a game on there? Because I know all 4 of those games, Gamecock fans are going to look and say, we should absolutely win all 4. Which of those 4 would you say is the most likely that could be the one that South Carolina trips up on?
Man, we talked about it today on our own show. I think Kentucky's going to be dangerous, man. I think Will Levis, who didn't play last year against South Carolina, by the way, as good as he was, turned the ball over a lot. Devin Leary's never thrown more than 5 interceptions in a season. They got a bunch of playmakers. I think Kentucky's going to be dangerous this year. And then, I mean, another game that we got to talk about, and I don't know if you call it a trap game if you're a South Carolina fan, but Texas A&M. You got to go to Kyle Field. That roster is supremely more talented than what they achieved last year. Like, I think just the gauntlet, and then also Vegas, I think not having a good gauge yet for who Spencer Rattler is as a quarterback. I think those 2 things factor in to make Vegas a little bit more timid to put that win total higher on South Carolina. And I'll also say this. I think South Carolina, where you put them at 6, 6.5, like, I don't care. Take my money. I'm in on that. Like, I really, truly believe that South Carolina is going to be a team that wins more than 6 games in 2023. So Vegas has proven they don't have a great gauge for South Carolina in the past. I don't think that's different this year, but I do understand where it comes from with the gauntlet of the SEC and the inconsistency, quite frankly, of Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, JD, it's interesting. Like, when we're giving predictions, because we're coming up on that time. I mean, it's crazy, dude. In a month and a half, but just over a month, SEC Media Days. And so it'll be prediction time. It'll be, let's lock it in. I'll lock in my game-by-game predictions. And I think, like, what people don't realize when you give predictions, it's like you have to pick somebody to have a bad year. Like, not everybody's going to win 8 games. Like, somebody's going to have a bad year. And so who is it? You just hope it's not your team. But it's interesting. Like, you keep seeing, and I know Vegas doesn't know everything. Shane Beamer loves playing as the underdog. They went 7-5, I think it was, against the spread last year. So, I mean, and you obviously the last 2 games of the season are the ones that really, really stand out. But I don't know, man. It's just that number at 6, 6.5, like you mentioned. It feels like such a slam dunk on slam dunk. Man, that's when they get you. That's when they get you.
And that's the other thing too, Chris. I'm sorry, I'm breaking up a little bit here. Did I cut you off?
No, you're good. You're good. I got you.
I was going to say, man, the other thing here is, like, college football probably makes the least sense out of any sport if you're predicting something. Like last year, we sat down here when we predicted Texas A&M schedule and I had them going 8-4. And we had the 12th man in our comment section getting after us. They're saying 10 wins is the floor. And like some of this was a little bit, hyperbolic, but like they were saying, like, you're crazy. If we win 8 games, it's a bad season. And I'm kind of like sitting here, like, quite honestly, I'm like, did I miss something? Like, this is where I have them. Maybe I'm off base here. They feel really good about their roster. That's fine. And then one thing led to another and they miss a bowl game. So, I mean, it's just like we sit here in June and, man, if I knew without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to Vegas and I'm putting money down. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's so difficult to predict exactly, which team is going to slip up which week. But, that's why they play the games. That's why we love it. And that's why we watch.
Expect the unexpected when it comes to college football. JD PicKell on 3 Sports, my man. I appreciate you taking the time. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and great to have you back on, and we'll look forward to doing it yet again next week, my friend.
No doubt, brother. Appreciate you having me on, and looking forward to talking next week.
Yes, sir. JD, take care, my friend. Great stuff. JD PicKell on 3 Sports. Always a pleasure chatting with him. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. On the side, though, we begin our Q&A Power Hour. I want to hear from each and every single one of you. 843-790-3377. Your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side of the break. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Marshall Dougie, ho.
What is up, guys? We are back here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023, and we have now entered our power hours. We take your questions, your comments, your calls as well over at 843-790-3377. You can also text that number as well. Again, the phone lines are officially open here on this Wednesday, and I do want to hear from each and every single one of you. Really quickly, the media was out at Super Regionals practice for the Gamecocks. This comes from Michael Lanana of the State. He tweets, "There's no announced rotation yet for the Gamecocks this weekend. Reading the context clues, it seems like USC will run it back with Hicks and Mahoney. Kingston didn't rule out Sanders starting. Eli Jones likely to work out of the bullpen." So while there is no rotation set, let's see, while there is no rotation set, there is an indication that we will get Hicks and Mahoney. So, interesting stuff for sure. Again, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377 here on this Wednesday. Let's see. Trying to find something. Anyways, let's see. Let's get into your questions here. Gray Thomas says, you posted the best games to watch football list. Could you do the same for Cox baseball? Well, Gray, the only thing about that is there aren't quite as many baseball games on YouTube. I will say, though, one of the guys that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, he has been posting a lot of the baseball games. Gray, I would just honestly say, dude, any of the games from the national championship runs, I would say any of those would be the best games to watch for sure. So I would put those no doubt as the best. Austin Gregory, if we have to go to the bullpen early in game one, who would you like to see? Well, Austin, I think a lot of that depends on the score of the game. A lot of that will depend on the score of the game, Austin. You know, if James Hicks gets the start and it's the 6th inning and we're up, I don't know. I mean, again, if the situation – what is the situation, Austin, going to dictate? I would have no problem going like Eli Jones game one immediately and trying to shut that thing down. And, I think, again, this is my philosophy, Austin. You do everything you can to win that game. You worry about tomorrow, and do everything that you can to win that game. So whoever you got to throw, whatever it is, you go with your best. You go with your absolute best, the guy that gives you a best chance to win in that game. So whether that's Eli Jones, that's Nick Proctor, that's Will Sanders, that's Chris Veach, that's Cade Austin, whatever. If that's Matthew Becker, I don't know. Whoever it is, you go with that guy. So a lot of your question, Austin, again, it depends a lot on the situation, honestly. So let's see. Okay. So it looks like nothing else. There's no other details. I was looking for details in regards to what Kingston had to say in his media availability, but nothing specifically. Nothing specifically has been tweeted. I'm going to post this link in our Discord. Again, guys, join the Big Cock Club today, patreon.com/BigCockClub. No matter what happens this weekend, we will be keeping up with all the baseball in the Discord. So you can check it out. We'll conversate, we'll talk, we'll react to everything. Patreon.com/BigCockClub, or click the link in bio of any of our social media channels, and you will find it there at the Big Cock Club link. Really appreciate those who joined over the last weekend, over the last week or so. And again, appreciate the love and the support of TSUS through the Big Cock Club. So let's see. Let's get into your questions. Austin Gregory says, it's 5-0, bottom of the second. My goodness. Oh, 5-0, we're winning. Or we're down 5-0. I would assume we're down 5-0 if we're going to the bullpen, Austin. I don't know, man. Let's just hope, Austin, we're not down 5-0. How about that? Let's get to the phone lines here.
Call from
Dalton.
Dalton, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got a dentist appointment in a little bit, but other than that, I'm good.
Very nice. Very nice, my friend. Well, I appreciate you calling in.
Basically what I wanted to call and ask you is, obviously, we know that the starting rotation is going to be huge this weekend against, a stacked Gators lineup, especially on the road. Whoever we have starting, whether it's Hicks, Becker and Mahoney, or whether Will Sanders gets a start somewhere in that 3-game series, they're going to have to step up. But my question to you is, who out of the bullpen do you believe is going to have to step up and start performing a little bit better in order to get us, a deep run in this postseason? Because we already know that Chris Beach is elite out of the bullpen. Will Sanders, while he, hasn't had a whole lot of relief appearances, especially high leverage relief appearances, he was really, really good out of the bullpen. Hope he can keep that up. But I'm sort of wondering, who would you go to, or who do you think would need to step up if we don't have, a Chris Beach available, if we don't have an Eli Jones available? Let's say we go to Sunday's game and it's a close game late in the innings. Like who would you go to, and who do you think needs to step up as far as the pitching staff?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned Chris Veach. I mean, he needs to be fantastic. Obviously, you get to the final inning, if you will, or final innings, and you're clinging to a 1 or 2 run lead. He's got to continue to be great for you. I think guys that need to step up. Nick Proctor. He's pitched really well of late. If he could continue to be a piece for you, I think that is a huge, huge boost to the bullpen. Obviously, a guy like Cade Austin, who I think just needs to show more consistency. I mean, he's been solid, but his shortcomings or his bad performances have been very noteworthy, right? They've been in some really, really big situations, big games, and so you just can't have that happen. So Cade Austin will be a guy. I think if Matthew Becker's coming out of the bullpen, you really need all these guys. But I would say Nick Proctor, again, can be a really, really big piece for this team, and I would go for him as a guy that, if they could continue to utilize him again, he provides something different. He's kind of like the John Taylor, Jose Mata type of style, where it's less velocity but a different arm angle, more movement, if you will. So, and then of course, if Eli Jones is coming out of the bullpen, I think that's a guy certainly that you want to continue to see the best from him. But all of these guys, you got a lot of capable options, a lot of capable arms in the bullpen, and just have them continue to step up is key for this group. But you're going to go to your main guys, Dalton. You're going to go to your main guys, and you just hope you get the best version of each and every single one of them, and you throw your best available, and you hope that works. And here's the good news too, man. Florida's got bullpen issues also. I mean, there's a lot of teams with bullpen issues. That's just something that you just never know. So, I mean, it's going to be a battle of the bullpens this weekend, I do think, to a degree, and we'll see how it shakes out. But, guys like – go ahead.
The one thing that gives me, a little bit of hope is that, out of every team in the SEC as far as their relief corps, South Carolina's relievers have been much more reliable, over the course of the season than basically anybody else. I mean, if we go into the end of a game with a 3-4 run lead, you can feel safe as long as we have all of our best arms available out of the bullpen that we're going to be able to close it out and get the win. My main concern is, let's just say, you throw Mahoney in game 1 and he can only give you 4 or 5 innings, and you have to burn all your relievers in order to get that first win. Obviously, that first win is huge, right? Because now all you have to do is go 1 for 2 the next 2 days. Mm-hmm. However, if you burn all your guys, do you think Mark Kingston is more likely to throw Beach, for for multiple innings and multiple different outings across the weekend because he is the best reliever coming out of the bullpen? Or do you believe he'll go to guys like a Nick Proctor, guys that are a little bit less proven than, your Chris Veach, your Eli Jones, your maybe even Cade Austin, because Cade Austin has had some good outings. He's had some bad outings. But my question to you is, would you, if you're Kingston, would you throw, more innings than what these guys have shown in the regular season at a bullpen in a relief situation? If it means you have a really good close the.
Yeah, I could definitely see a guy like Chris Veach making multiple appearances this weekend, especially if it's Friday, Sunday. Most of these guys, I think if they went Friday, could probably go Sunday if it was for limited action. I mean, obviously, if you go more than an inning, I don't think there's a chance you come back. I also didn't mention, too, man, come out of the bullpen. I mean, we didn't even mention Will Sanders. It's not guaranteed he's going to get the start, right? So, if he's a guy that, you can use as a weapon out of the pen for you, I mean, I would argue he's got some of the best stuff, if not the best stuff on that roster still, even with his struggles this year. If he's throwing strikes and getting ahead in the count, I mean, his stuff is true swing and miss, big league type of stuff, right? So, I could definitely, again, see guys throwing multiple times this weekend. Ideally, you probably don't want to do that, but, that's the nature of the beast when you're a closer for sure. So I could definitely see Chris Veach pitching twice if it does come down to a game 3. I think South Carolina, Dalton, to be honest, I think it's in their best interest to try to do everything you can to win the first 2 games. Like I think if South Carolina, I think if they're going to win this series, I think they need to win the first 2. I don't like the way. I don't think a game 3 in Gainesville bodes well for you. Let me just put it to you that way. I don't think a game 3 on the road, I don't know that you've got quite the pitching depth you would like in that third game to combat what Florida will have and that Florida offense, if you will. So I think this is a team that needs to do everything it can to win those first 2 games. Just I think you're throwing your absolute best those first 2, and you kind of see where you are. And if you got to play game 3, so be it. But I think winning those first 2 and doing all you can to do so would be big. But yeah, guys could certainly throw multiple times this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that game 1 is going to be huge Friday night. We'll see if we can get it done. I hope we can, but I will say that, let's say we lose game 1, it's going to be very difficult to come back and go 2 for 2 back-to-back days.
Yeah.
So I would say I like our chances better in a game 3, assuming we win game 1 and lose game 2, but we'll see what happens for sure. So hopefully they can get it done, and we can book our tickets to Omaha this weekend. So
it'd be a great conversation to be having this time next week, wouldn't it, my friend?
Yep.
Most
all right,
would.
you have a good one,
Dalton. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Great stuff from Dalton, and appreciate him calling in here on this Wednesday. 843-790-3377. Joseph says, I would not move Jack to game 1. I would start Will Sanders, let him go as long as he can, and he may end up going a good bit. James Hicks will probably be our first out of the bullpen. James Hicks is probably going to start, Joseph. James Hicks is probably going to start game 1. So, I know you. Here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing, Joseph. A lot of people are saying start Will Sanders game 1. The question is he physically ready to do so? Like, is he ready to throw 70, 80, 90, 100 pitches in a game? I don't know that he is, Joseph. I just don't know that he is. Hasn't pitched in so long. I don't know. Again, based off of what we just read, it does sound like it's probably going to be. It probably is going to be James Hicks, Jack Mahoney, games 1 and 2 starting out. So maybe they're going to use Will Sanders out of the bullpen yet again. Again, he's been very good in his career out of the bullpen. That is something to keep in mind. He's been very good in his career out of the bullpen. Lynn Turner says the 2011 College World Series Finals game 1 against Florida is the best Gamecock baseball game ever. Lynn, it's certainly one of the best. I think you could certainly argue it is the best. I mean, it's an incredible game. It's an incredible game for sure. Getting back into these questions from earlier in the show or these statements, Austin Gregory, again, do not forget, Robbie Davis will most likely be calling in, and you got to subscribe to the BCC if he goes under 8 minutes and 20 seconds. No takebacks. Big Game Boomer ranks Shane Beamer as the 16th best head coach in America. Okay. Ethan says, anybody have a secondary team they watch in college football? I actually grew up a UNC fan because of my mom, dad, and uncle all went there, but I obviously have converted. I don't know that I really have a second team. I don't think so. I don't know. Not that I'll tell you this, Ethan. Not that I actively pull for. Austin Gregory, we went undefeated at night, on the road, and at home last year. We were undefeated at night. We love playing night games. That is for sure. Ethan says, I've watched many UNC games over the years. Drake May is an incredible quarterback, but he lost all of his big receivers. Their O-line was average at best, and defense got gashed late in the season. We are fine. David Barnes points out we could have very easily lost to Vandy 2 years ago, if not for Colonel Zeb. How about Colonel Zeb? What is he up to these days? What is Zeb Nolan doing these days? Very good point, though. Robert Hastings simply says, screw Kentucky. Braddock 843 says, I'd argue Vegas thinks 5 wins for the Gamecocks with that 6 number. He says suspect run defense, an O-line that probably takes a minute to gel, and no real running back does make you worry. That Braddock, to your point, I think that's what a lot of people are forgetting. Like when they're saying, like, oh, no big deal. We got no running back. We'll just throw it over the yard with Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells and Trey Knox. Guys, if you don't have balance, like you got to have some balance. You've got to have some balance. If you don't have balance, I don't care how good your playmakers are on the outside. You're not going to have a lot of success offensively. You're just not. You're not. Let's see. Austin Gregory says JD PicKell is one of the best in the business. He absolutely is. Absolutely is. Justin says Clem sucks game at home this year. Bring back white helmet, black 2010 top, white 2010 pants, black shoes, black socks. They're probably not going to go back to the 2010 uniforms, but Brewer Nation says the white block C should be the only choice. Let's see. Continuing your questions. Austin Moore says the traditional 3 is what I mean for sure. The thick ones like you stated. Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of like the hunter, the most the dangerous game thing, how about this comment? Will Hall says, you'd probably have some hunter volunteers from the chat if Mark Ryan signed up. God, that's tough, man. That's a tough comment, Will. Jeff Gullich, I know you're joking, by the way. Jeff Gullich says NCAA was the best. I won a lot of money back in the day. Lynn Turner says I like the 8 conference plus 1 Power 5 out of conference. Well, Lynn, we'd be good then, right? Because we already play Clemson. We'd be good. We'd be good. I would assume that we would be good. Let's see. Lynn Turner says, we have to jump on Florida early and get into their bullpen. Joseph also says the mindset needs to be win this pitch, win this inning. I'd agree with you. John Edward would say he'd say Penn State as his secondary team. Okay, very interesting. Joseph says, I hope the players remember how Florida ended our season last year. I think we'll be plenty motivated, Joseph. I can tell you that. Marigan R26, if I can or just looking for a team to watch, then it's Clemson and pull for their opponent. You had me in the first half, Marion. I'm not going to lie. Lynn Turner, my husband went to NC State. My son will have 3 degrees from East Carolina next May. So they are my secondary teams. But I love good college ball in general. Lynn, that's awesome. That's incredible. I can see why you'd pull for those schools. Joseph says, I'm excited to watch LSU Kentucky in the Supers. I hate Kentucky being the Supers because they're not a baseball school, but that was a good series the first time around, and I like their color matchup. Dude, Kentucky, they've done, hey, what is it? Mangione, the head coach? He's done work, dude. He's done work. So he has done work. Let's get back into your questions. Let's see. Austin Hicks, what's your favorite uniform, C Philly? Austin, you will know that because next week I will do my top 5 favorite home uni combos and road uni combos. Patience, Austin. I mean, I think you guys know, right? I posted the 05, 06 unis. I think y'all probably know already, but I will do, or if you're just asking like right now, what's my favorite uni combo? I have said this many times. I will say it again. I've said this many times, and I will say it again, and it is a very boring take. It is a very boring take, but I will say this. If it were up to me personally, I'd go, these would be my base unis, my defaults at home, white, garnet, white. On the road, white, white, white. My alternates, all black, big game garnet, white garnet, garnet. Like I would go white helmet probably for everything. Outside of all black would be black helmet. Big game garnet with the white helmet. I would have the 1984 Black Magic throwback. So garnet helmet, black jersey, white pants. I would have the 1969 ACC champions throwback. Okay. White, black, white as an alternate. And then on the road, I would have white, white, black, white, white, garnet as an alternate. I would have, I'll even give you black, white, black, right? So I'd have alternates in there. But I would go like the base uniform is white, garnet, white. That's what I would go. That to me feels traditional. So, that's just my take. I do. I love white, garnet, white. I do. Like, I don't think our unis look bad now, but I'll just tell you this. I was not a fan last year. And I mean, you love it because it worked out late in the season. And that's the thing, guys. If you're winning, you care far less about what jerseys you're wearing. You care far less about uniforms, right? But like when we came out against Georgia State and wore black, garnet, I hated it. I hated it. At that moment, I hated it. It worked out well later in the season, but I hated it in that first game. Hated it. So I do think, though, it's very interesting that Shane Beamer has not made any changes to the uniforms. I'm surprised. Maybe he's not a uni guy. Maybe he just doesn't care. I don't know. Yeah, Mark Kingston was asked, could Will Sanders potentially start? He said, yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Maybe so. Maybe they'll go TBA. And I listen, I know Dalton is just trying to trigger me in the comments in the Big Cock Club Discord. It's the only reason he would say this. He says, we need to bring back the tail feather helmets. I should do a top 5 worst helmets in school history. I should. Because the tail feather helmet is, I'd probably put it number 1. Like, burn it into oblivion. Don't ever let it be seen again. I will die on that hill. That helmet's terrible. That helmet is terrible. Terrible. I love the idea. Just the execution, though, I'm not a fan of. I'm just not. I'd love to see a helmet with just the Gamecock on it. No block C. I think the Gamecock in the middle of the field at the 50 would be dope. I really do. I think that'd be dope. If you want to start getting crazy. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Mm-mm-mm. Marion R26 says, I like the jerseys with the big numbers in the Blake Mitchell years. Same here. Lynn Turner says, don't we depend on Under Armour for uni designs? How much control do we really have? Lynn, I'd have to imagine we have some control. I'd have to imagine. But I'll tell you this. That's not even my biggest beef in regards to the uni designs, whatever. My biggest beef is the font. I'm not a fan of the font. Like I said this, and it was the right take. I mean, I like normally I'm like, hey, like respect all opinions. This is the right take. The Carolina font that is on the Yankee gray baseball jerseys, that should be the font across all sports. That should be the font. Bottom line, that should be the font. I don't know why we went to this small little blocky whatever, but that font on the Yankee gray baseball jerseys, that is the perfect font. That should be the font across all sports. It's a no-brainer, dude. It's a no-brainer. Austin Gregory. If he goes under, I subscribe to BCC. If he goes over, I get a follow back on Twitter. Seems fair. Okay, that's fair. Fair enough. I'll play you on that. Hopefully we get a Robbie Davis call today. I don't know. We might not. Travis says, how about just a spur on the helmet? Like the hat, Travis, that dropped with the spur and the thing coming off and it had the SC on it. Yes, Austin Hicks. Am I the only one that's not a big fan of our number font on the jerseys? I think it's too small. The Under Armour font is trash. That's a given. But here's the problem. The entire university is branded around this font and everything Under Armour. So, like, think of how much money it would cost to change all of this over. Guys, we're going to jump at – actually, no, we're not. Chiming in as we speak.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
Robbie Davis, what is up, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I got in not long ago from first walk of the day, so I figured I'd go ahead and get my phone call in while I'm resting.
How does it feel, Robbie, to know that people are literally betting on your calls? Isn't that cool? That's neat.
That's you know what that tells me? You've got nothing better to do with your life.
I mean, I don't think they're doing it. I don't think they're doing it as a slight, Robbie. I just think they're.
I don't think so.
Having a little fun with it.
To me, it looks. Well, yeah, that's true. Very true. But personally, okay, and you're not gonna like this, okay, and I hope we're still friends after this. But hear me out, okay? I actually liked the tail feather helmets, but I would have made the helmet, instead of it being white, I would have made it black and left the tail feathers as is.
We're still friends. Robbie. It's fine. It's fine, my guy. No big deal.
So, but don't worry. I know you still love me, all right? Because life's too short to be a jackass towards people, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I wanted to give you my. I'm not gonna give 5, but I'm gonna give like my top 3 games to rewatch as far as football goes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 1, 2006 against Clemson. Okay.
It's a great game.
Because I guaranteed that W. I made a wager with a Clemson fan, and I looked him square in the face, and I said, loser wears the winner's shirt the next day to church. And I looked him square in the face and I said, we are not going to lose. I said those words in the church parking lot. And I said, we are not going to lose. You're wearing a Carolina shirt Sunday morning to church. And lo and behold, we got the dub. That's number one. Number two, shocker, 2012 game against Georgia. Okay. That one. Okay. That's number two. Number three is last year against Texas A&M.
That is that's a sneaky good one. You are right. Last year against A&M. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I was sitting in the stands, and all of a sudden, Chris messaged me, y'all, and I was like, "What's he messaging me for?" Then he said, "Look up," and I look up, and there he was.
Oh, that's right.
That's
right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That you and I saw each other in the stands, and then Leggett takes that ball. Yeah, we were going crazy. That was incredible. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, I still remember that. I felt my phone vibrate. I pulled my phone out and I'm like, why is Chris messaging me? I mean, I know he's here, but where is he? And then I look up and there you were. Oh man. But if you were not there that night, you missed out. Okay. And if you gave away your tickets because you thought we were going to get our ass kicked, shame on you. So there's one thing I definitely knew before that night is don't doubt Shane Beamer, and I definitely figured it out that night is also I'm never going to doubt Shane Beamer ever again. I'll never doubt Shane Beamer, and I definitely am never going to doubt God for sure.
Indeed.
Because nobody was giving us a chance, and lo and behold, we beat A&M. We beat Clemson. Nobody was giving us a chance. But like I said a couple weeks ago, as long as we win, the naysayers will shut up and they'll learn to respect Shane Beamer and South Carolina. But at some point, they're going to have to respect it.
Big facts.
So. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it to get closer and closer to the season because I'm ready to give you my full-blown season win-loss breakdown.
Dude, I'll literally be locking in predictions in a month. So it's crazy. It'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. And I will make sure I give you my prediction before I leave on. I'll give you my weekend prediction for the baseball team Friday. At the earliest tomorrow, but I'll make sure I do it before I leave because I'm leaving Sunday and I'll be AWOL for a week. So next week, y'all, if you don't hear no phone calls, I didn't fall off the face of the earth, okay? I'm going to help out with a little bit of something for a week, and I'll be back Friday. Your show might be over on Friday by the time I get back.
Right. Yeah, next week, especially if we win this weekend, next week is going to be very interesting with trying to make plans to go to Omaha. No big deal. So we shall see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah.
Yep. Don't put as my dad would sometimes say, don't put the cart before the horse.
Indeed. Definitely don't want to do that.
So, but I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Let my phone charge, and then go do my second walk. Have a great rest of your day, okay?
Robbie, I appreciate you, my friend. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
No problem, buddy.
Yeah, man.
All right, man.
Take care. Have a good one, Robbie.
Yep.
Bye-bye. The under officially hits Austin. I even tried to drag it out there a little bit at the end for you, but 7 minutes and 13 seconds. I guess that wasn't a bad number, Austin, on your part, but I loved the under the whole time. Yeah. Loved the under the whole time, my guy. So Guess we got a new BCC member. Guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into the break. On the side, I want to continue to hear from you more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Some big-time news coming out. I don't really know news, but how about this? 24/7 Sports drops a first-round projection, and I think this is Brad Crawford, actually. I think this is his projection. So take it for what it's worth, but this is the 24/7 Sports mock draft. He's got Juice Wells as a first-rounder, the 28th overall pick. Let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Call from
Will Croson.
Will, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm pretty good. I got two things for you. So one, I tried to call you like 4 times, and I apologize for blowing up your phone. But Robbie Davis, 7 minutes is too long, man. Not talking crap, but holy crap, get what you got to say and get off the phone. Other people are trying to call in too, man. Like, if you have an hour, hour 15, hour now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about an hour.
But, yeah, and there's a reason everyone's betting on you in the comments. But anyway, I wanted to talk about baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So with the pretty dominant performance in the regionals, do you think Kingston's safe now? I know that you were saying supers are bust, but if we get destroyed this weekend, I don't think we will, but if we did, do you think Kingston's gone?
No, I think Kingston's back in 2024. I think getting to the super regionals is enough to get him back. And, again, I mean, obviously we hope, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think it is going to be a really competitive series, but I don't think the result of this weekend will impact the fact that he will be back next year. I think he's without a doubt back. Again, I just said super regionals are bust, just getting there. Obviously it'll be extremely disappointing if you don't play well, but I think he's back no matter what.
Yeah. Well, so I think that if you do fire him, you would lose all the momentum of the players you brought in, the momentum of, like, we run the risk of people transferring out. Like, I think that he has deserved, when we're healthy, I think he's deserved another year.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's not if people would transfer, it's when they would. I mean, you would probably lose, your entire core of guys who would return next year. So again, you got to the supers. Obviously, we want to see a strong performance this weekend, and I think we will. But even if you didn't, for whatever reason, I do think, again, to your point, I think Mark Kingston is back. I think they'll want to kind of retain what they have in place, and we'll go from there. But, I think he's back. But, again, to the point of, I think that this will be a strong performance. This will be a great series upcoming. So, looking forward to it.
Sweet. All right, that's all I got for you.
Hey, Will, I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yep, great stuff. Robbie Davis catching stray bullets on the call. But, no, I appreciate Will. Appreciate the call from him. And, I think it's going to be a great series, guys. But no matter what, even if South Carolina, if Florida wins 2 games and they win the series, Mark Kingston's back. Again, I'm saying nothing more about Mark Kingston's job. If you want to say next year's a make or break year to get to Omaha, but I tell you this, if you're having the type of seasons where you're getting to the supers, like, I mean, we've talked about it, guys. What are the expectations? What are the expectations for South Carolina baseball that I think we all agree should be met? And I think most of us agreed with this. I mean, I think you go over the course of a decade, because I think that is a good measuring of a tenure, if you will. 9 out of 10 seasons, you should be making the postseason. I'll give you 1 year to miss it. 9 out of 10, you should be making the postseason. And I think most years you should host, but you should be at minimum going to the postseason. Okay? 9 out of 10. I think realistically, 5 out of 10, you should be going to the Super Regionals. 5 out of 10. And then every decade, 3 out of 10 going to Omaha. And then if you could win a national championship, obviously that's great. But I think that's fair. I think that's fair. 50% of the time, go to the Supers. 30% of the time. And I think for some, you would probably say those are conservative expectations. I just look at it this way, though, guys. As long as you're making the postseason every year and you're giving yourself a chance to go on a run and giving yourself a chance to go to Omaha, I think that's what it really comes down to. The one thing that can't be tolerated at South Carolina is missing the postseason. I know we all agree with that. We all agree, right? We all agree. Because here's the thing. At South Carolina, man, I feel confident too. Like, if you're getting into the postseason, especially if you're hosting regionals, but this is a program that the switch flips in the postseason, man. I mean, and this is a program that is extremely confident in the postseason, loves to play in the postseason, right? So, you know, I would say those are fair expectations. So, but no, Mark Kingston's back next year. Mark Kingston's back no matter what. Anyways, guys, continuing to take your questions, your comments, your calls as well. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377 here on this Wednesday. Again, appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Stick tight for weekend plans. I hit up our friends over at Carolina Ale House last minute, was like, hey, I didn't even think about it, but why wouldn't we throw watch parties for this? The games are in Gainesville. Most folks are probably going to need a place to watch the game. So I think most likely, if it does come to fruition, we will be at Carolina Ale House, Woodruff Road in the upstate. I love the setup, honestly, guys, on the patio. I think it's a great place to watch games and what have you, right? I know many of you were there for the Florida series, and we were able to kind of rig some things and set up ESPN Plus. Good news is this: these games are on ESPN too, so we don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know why Carolina Ale House wouldn't give us the green light. It's not like just openly, admittedly, guys. I mean, I do 99% of the work when we go, so not like they'd have to do anything, and we really could just go if we wanted to go. So either way, though, guys, we will be following along with the baseball in the Big Cock Club Discord. So join the Discord, and of course, we'll be chatting, conversating, all that in there. Going to be a good time, no doubt. No doubt. Again, guys, Juice Wells projected as a first rounder in the NFL draft by Brad Crawford. How about that? And you'd have to think Juice Wells would have a pretty damn good season for South Carolina if he's going to be a first rounder. So anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. Lynn Turner, wow, Omaha is harder than most people think. That Omaha expectation is one no program has maintained over the decades. So you think, Lynn, that 3 times in a decade is too much to ask? 3 times in a decade. 3 times in a decade. I mean, okay, maybe it's a little bit aggressive, Lynn. Maybe it's a little bit aggressive. I don't think 3 times in a decade is. I know Omaha is harder than most people think. You are correct. I think, but you got to have an expectation, Lynn, of getting to Omaha. You do, right? I think at some point you do. You got to have an expectation of getting to Omaha. That is the goal. That is the standard. So, and here's the thing, Lynn, if you're getting to the Supers 6 times or 5 times in a decade, you're giving yourself opportunities. I think you will get to Omaha 2 or 3 times. We'll say twice a decade. Lynn, is that fair? Twice a decade? I think twice a decade's fair. For South Carolina baseball, I think that's very, very fair. Austin Gregory said, to be fair, I was going to join or subscribe anyways and be a good sport. So Austin's going to join the Big Cock Club Discord either way. Thank you, Austin. That was funny. I love the bet, though. I love the bet. Love the bet. Let's see. Again, guys, appreciate JD PicKell taking the time to chat today and also the topics of conversation. So really excited, by the way, I'm jumping on with inallkindsofweather.com tonight to talk all things South Carolina, Florida, Super Regionals this weekend. Going to be a blast. Of course, we've also got Mark Ryan on the show tomorrow, who is a Florida man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will air the convo within all kinds of weather in all kinds of weather. We will air that on tomorrow's show in the first hour, and that will serve really as our super regional breakdown, if you will. That'll serve as our breakdown. If there's anything that we don't discuss and we don't get into, I could do something separate. I could do something separate for sure. The only thing is this: the podcasts will all drop at 5 o'clock Eastern on Friday. The game literally starts at 6. So I'm not going to wait that late to drop the series preview. So, because I got to lock in predictions too. And I don't know that I'm going to do it on his show. So maybe we'll do that as well. Maybe we'll do his convo and my normal breakdown, my normal storylines, all that good stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But either way, going to be a lot of fun. Colton Carnell says, I got food poisoning at the Dave & Buster's in Myrtle about a year or two ago. Dude, food poisoning is the worst, my guy. Madison, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Austin Gregory says, 14 super since 2000. That means over half the years that I've been on this earth, we have made it to the super regionals. Insanity. Yeah, dude, we've got great tradition, man. We've got great tradition. That is a fact for sure. We have great tradition in baseball, and, Ray Tanner did a hell of a job. Ray Tanner did a hell of a job, man. So I know obviously Mark Kingston's trying to get back to that. And I think that we're getting closer and closer and closer. But, this year's been a great step. This year's been a great step, and we'll see if it continues for sure. So anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. Austin Gregory, who was the coach in 2000 when we made our first super, it was Ray Tanner. Ray Tanner, Austin took over, I believe it was 1997 as the Gamecocks head coach. So he orchestrated that great run. Yep, that was Ray Tanner. What's crazy is that NC State's head coach, the team obviously we just took on in the regionals, that is the coach that took over because Ray Tanner was at NC State. That's the coach that took over after he left, and he's still there. Isn't that wild? Still there at NC State. And they got a good program. State's got a good program. How about our friend SEC Mike says this? Okay, On3's founder and CEO Shannon Terry believes 99.9% of college football players should take the 500 to have their name, image, and likeness in NCAA Football 24. But he understands why a few elites should demand more. Here's what he says. For 99.9% of players opting in makes sense. The 500 can go a long way because the real value is being in the game for generations. For some like Kayla Williams and Drake May, holding out could add up because their value is obviously greater than $500. Let's see. SEC Mike then replies and said, I support NIL and players getting paid what they're worth, but I don't believe a single fan of this game would pass on buying if it came with 0 actual players in it. I'm not sure what value the players have here, especially considering the game has been gone for a decade plus. I feel the same way. Hey, listen, you want to talk business and getting paid and all that? It's all about leverage. It's all about leverage, man. It's all about leverage. And they don't have it. Man. I mean, people can literally take a generic roster and they can add the rosters in the game. And then you're getting nothing. And you feel like a dumbass because people are posting clips. They're playing as you and you got nothing for it. I mean, you got nothing. So, I don't know if everybody really appreciates this Justin Slapdick that played at Clemson, who's the vice president of the College Football Players Association. I don't know if everybody appreciates him speaking for all, because if it was me, I'm like, bro, just give me my 500. Like, I'm good on it. Give me my 500. I'll be in the game forever. I love it. Like, don't speak for me and what I want. That's all I'm saying. So, yes, Madison, we'll be in the Discord. The Discord will be up and live streaming the game no matter what Friday at 6 p.m., Madison. Yes, the Discord will be live Friday at 6 no matter what. Yes, so you can tune in there as well. Lynn Turner, I agree that we set an Omaha goal, but I'm saying no team has accomplished your expectation over multiple decades. Baseball success seems to run in cycles. I hear you, Lynn. I hear you. I understand that. You still set it as the goal for sure. You still set it as the goal. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. You still set it as the goal. Lynn Turner says, my son liked to create himself and NCAA make a Heisman run. Who didn't? Road to Glory is it. Road to Glory is incredible. How can you not love Road to Glory? I mean, I'm not a huge gamer. I'll be honest, guys. I'm not a huge gamer. But the game modes that I can play for the longest, Road to Glory and Road to the Show. Those two game modes, I could play those for hours. I can play those by myself for hours. So how about fans showed up to Founders Park to send off the Gamecocks baseball team? Because Gamecocks baseball just posted the video. So Jacob B says, I mean, there are teams with double-digit Omaha appearances for the top-tier programs. It's attainable almost every year. Again, I think twice a decade, Jacob. I think that's I personally think that's a very fair expectation. I think twice a decade, it should happen, in my opinion, if you're one of the elites in college baseball. You should get to Omaha twice a decade. Just my 2 cents. Guys, we're going to jump into one final break. On the other side, I want to continue to hear from you. More your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecock seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Macho Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. Again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Hope you're all doing well, and thank you all so much for the continued love and support as we close out this show today on Hump Day. Hope you're having a fantastic day and a fantastic week, by the way, as well. We'll get back into your questions and comments here. Also, phone lines are open, 843-790-3377. On that note, we have a call incoming. Let's jump into it.
Call from
Justin.
Justin, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Doing good, Chris. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, my guy. I appreciate you asking. What's up?
Hey, Chris. I got some good news, man.
What's up? What's the good news?
Good news is I do a band group. You know,
You do a what now?
I do a music group called The Band. We try to put the songs like,
Okay.
music group.
Nice. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, I try to work on a new project so we get ready to see the song, and we'll put some Go Gamecocks beat the Gators.
Okay, love that. Love that, man. That's awesome.
Yep. Chris, this is a big game this Friday, right?
Huge, man. It's a huge weekend. Huge game Friday and a huge weekend.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'm really pumped. It's great to have South Carolina back in the Super Regionals. I'm ecstatic, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, Chris. And we gotta beat the Gators. That's our biggest rival in baseball, right, Chris?
Yeah, no doubt. Now we got to get that dub, man. So I'd love to see South got in Omaha, as we all would, and it's going to be tough, obviously, at their place. But it's a team you already swept, so we'll see if they can do it again.
Oh yeah, yep. Hey, Chris, look for the new project this Friday, man, because I do a new project this Friday, so look forward to soon. Okay,
I'm gonna be looking for it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be on. I think it's gonna be on my story on Instagram this Friday. It's gonna be something about let's watch this town.
Nice. Okay, I'll be looking for it then.
Oh yeah. Hey Chris, before I got here, man, Georgia got a new baseball coach in Missouri too. I did not know that.
Yeah. Georgia picked up LSU's pitching coach, and I forget who Mizzou got. Do you remember who Missouri got or no?
I think somebody. I think it was at Memphis.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was the Memphis guy. Yeah. I mean, it's, those are tough jobs, man. Those are tough jobs. Missouri's not investing in baseball the way you need to. Missouri's not, they're not investing in baseball the way you need to. And then, I would say Georgia the same. You know what I mean? They're not but I think Georgia's hire could actually work out pretty well. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, and Chris, the thing about Missouri, man, you gotta look at Missouri. They used to be good baseball. They won a national championship. God, that was back in the 50s, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and Chris, the thing about Missouri, you get the kids out of DC. That's the thing about it, right, Chris?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's well said. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris, we talk about Georgia. Can you get the kids out of Atlanta too? That's a
it's weird. It's weird. Georgia baseball hasn't been better over the years. It is. It's weird. So we'll see if they can improve under this new guy. We hope they don't. I hope they don't.
Yeah, I hope not either. But Chris, think about Atlanta. Georgia, it's a big Atlanta, right, for baseball, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and Chris, if I was a coach, I got all these connections, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how big these two programs, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Georgia's got a better chance to improve than Mizzou, but only time will tell.
Yeah, and Chris, if I go, man, what about Alabama? They haven't found no baseball coach yet,
Yeah, no, dude, Bama's got a big one this weekend. Wake Forest Super Regional. So.
Oh yeah. We'll see. Who I think I better not stay with the area coach because if he does well, Chris, you have to give him the job, right?
You have to.
Yeah. Well, that's all I said, Chris.
Justin, I appreciate the call, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, take care, my friend.
Yeah, man. You too. Great to hear from you. Great stuff from Justin, as always. Again, guys, 843-790-3377 as we close out the show. 843-790-3377. Nobody is having a worse day than Zion Williamson. Nobody's having a worse day than Zion Williamson. That is a fact, folks. That is a fact. Okay, so I realized Iron Sheik was a wrestler. I didn't even know that. Apparently, Iron Sheik passed away. That's what Ruination was talking about. I had no clue. Yeah, Colton Carnell, NCAA 14 was the last game. NCAA 14. Yep. NCAA 14. Wow, Madison. They invented a single shooter sniper game to knock off Clemson's players and obnoxious fans. I would play that game. Madison, my guy, just maybe relax. Maybe relax, my guy. Will Hall says, taking into account the field changes to 99 3 times a decade should be an expectation. He says, we had 3 College World Series appearances in the 2000s and 3 in the 2010s. Dude, it's crazy. Think about it. We had 3 in the 2010s. They were in 10, 11, and 12. Isn't that crazy, dude? We did not go back. We have not been back to Omaha since 2012. It's just wild. Been forever for Carolina baseball. It has been absolutely forever for South Carolina baseball. Anyways, guys, like I said, just stay tuned for updates. We could be gathering for a watch party this weekend for the South Carolina and Florida Super Regionals. Bruin Nation says, what happened with Zion? Bruin Nation, just look up Zion Williamson on Twitter, and you will see, my friend. You will see. You will see. Just look up Zion Williamson on Twitter. You will see. That's all I'll say. I believe he's a trending topic. I think he's a trending topic right now. So, TigerNet posted the link. Former Clemson player organizing boycott of new college football game says it's exploiting players. Leave it to a Clemson man. Leave it to a Clemson man to spoil everyone's fun. Truly. That's something. John Edward, Zion was so much fun to watch. Well, John, he's having a tough day today, John Edward. He was having a tough day today. You might want to go do some research on the old Twitter machine, my guy, and the rest you will understand. Guys, we have hit the end of our show. Hey, appreciate you all tuning in. Let me say this. Thank you all so much for continuing to engage interactions. It honestly makes the show fly by. You would think maybe adding an hour, would it feel like it dragged or anything like that? But it really doesn't, man. It really doesn't. I'm truly blessed and appreciate you all. And this show is a ton of fun each and every single day. And again, thank you all so much for the continued love and support. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon so you get notifications of when we drop the show, when we drop new video content, when we go live. Of course, it is exclusively where we air the Daily Crow. And also, of course, subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. You can check us out there. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us reviews with your thoughts, your feedback, what have you. Always appreciate the kind words and the feedback from you all. And that drops every single day. 5 p.m. Eastern time is when the new podcasts drop every single day. Guys, that being said, hey, we're out of here. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.